time to meet the people on the Keeler Show today.
It's time to read the news and weather. Time to figure out what to say. It's time to turn the channel of the Keeler Show today. Why do we always listen?
Keeler's always in the know.
It makes me want to call him
And tell him where to go.
And now let's get things started. Andrew, let's get things started.
It's time to get things started.
On the most sensational, inspirational, celebrational, Keelerational. This is what we call the Keeler Show.
This is Keeler in the Morning. WIBX 950 and 92.3 FM.
Okay. Well, listen, good morning. And it is cold out.
Freezing.
One of the greatest things that I think we ever did as home buyers
Yes.
is the last two homes we have had, they've had, which, by the way, encompasses the entirety of my wife and our marriage.
Yeah.
Like 26 years. We've had a garage.
Oh, yes.
And there's nothing like
essential.
it. And then, if you can add the word heated to your garage, it's just times like these that you're like, I only wish the radio station had a heated garage.
I know.
That'd be nice, right?
Oh, wouldn't it be?
Because you're crying about the temperature, and I'm driving down the road, and my car is at.
I don't even feel it.
Yeah, you feel nothing till you get out and you realize it's cold.
I had the rare instance of having my vehicle in the garage yesterday. Not so much today. Today I was in the driveway.
This morning, John Manion, Congressman Manion, is on, calling in for the first time as our 22nd congressional district representative.
Officially.
We'll speak with him. Hobica's free money question of the day this morning. We will speak with Dr. Gary Zimmer, Chief Medical Officer at Wynn Hospital, on the diversion order. So I didn't even know what this was.
Yeah.
Until over the weekend, there was a diversion order.
I had seen it on Saturday.
But here's something that I did not know. This is something that has happened during a season like this. So right now, what we're dealing with is neurovirus and flu.
Yeah.
So between that and some cases of COVID as well, but you're getting all these and they're being hit. The hospitals and even the clinics are being hit. And what's happening now is that the staff is starting to get sick. So doctors and nurses are beginning
There's a shortage.
to become. There's becoming an overwhelming situation.
I'm telling you right now, that neurovirus is something I never want to get.
According to people we have spoken to on the inside, and I want you to know that these are people that have always been very honest with us on these issues, meaning that if there's something bad going on, they are the first ones to let us know.
Yeah.
I've talked to others who I find to be just more independent with knowledge on the inside as well. So we've talked to a few people on this, and the message came out yesterday from the fire department. The Wynn Hospital is on a diversion until further notice. So once we figured out what that meant, what that means is unless it is a case, this should not be confused with the heart situation that was going on or is being corrected. We'll find out where they stand on that right now. But Wynn Hospital on a diversion until further notice. So it means that if there's someone who is suffering from neurovirus, the flu, anything that is not life-threatening but could be life-threatening,
Yeah.
they are to be diverted to another facility. Because what is happening is the backup in the emergency room was so deep, ambulances are having to keep people in the ambulance, which is preventing them from going out and making another call.
Yeah.
This is how bad it got over the weekend, and it has happened again. We'll speak with, as we said, Dr. Gary Zimmer, who's the chief medical officer at WIN, on what they're going through right now and what all of this means going forward. It is a definite issue where we're getting pounded, and you can imagine as we're coming back from school vacation, you can imagine as all of these
gonna rip through the schools,
snot-nosed kids converge, expect it to the next wave to hit the schools. We'll also talk to Dr. Kent Hall about this, and there's also a new virus that is sweeping through China. And we'll get to that coming up in a little bit. Oh, boom, boom. Ryan Schmelz, Fox News Radio. Biden permanently banning offshore drilling in 625 million acre section of the ocean. You can expect a reaction from the incoming administration, I would assume.
Without a doubt.
Steve Houck on later on this morning regarding that New Year's terror attack. And then yesterday we find out in New Orleans, because they're preparing for the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
And, we're going to have a lot of people.
How confident do you feel about going to the Super Bowl?
We're going to have a lot of people there because Buffalo will be there, Davey. We hope.
Yeah, we hope 100%.
Anyway, they're saying that this is how, I swear to God, these administrations, and it's not just presidential, it's not just major cities, it's administrations, municipalities all over. We end up just like the average person.
Yeah.
You're pitched something, and you buy into it, and you're like, okay, this is going to make us safer, or this is going to make us more efficient, or whatever the situation is. In this case, it is these barriers that are supposed to block vehicles from storming in and plowing into people during Mardi Gras, during the Super Bowl. Turns out they are guaranteed to stop anyone going under 10 miles per hour.
Oh, good. That's good.
Okay. And what they're saying is what this is meant for is if a vehicle were to lose, pop out of it, be a standard transmission, pop out of gear and start coasting with no one in the vehicle or what have you. A woman who hits the gas, could be a man, I should be fair, but I'm thinking someone older that might not be thinking properly.
They don't know what gear they're in.
Instead, they hit the gas as opposed to the brake and it's smashed. These are stories we hear about all the time. But if you have a very sensitive area, whether it be because there's a gas tank there or what have you, this is what this is supposed to stop. Now, they've invested all of this money, and now they're going back and looking at it and thinking maybe this isn't the answer.
Yeah.
In New York City, their answer is they bring in giant trucks, like huge snowplows, and they fill them up with crushed stone, and they just park them at the entrance to Times Square. Well, I would think that New York has a pretty good area to be able to work with there, right? Because you have the buildings that serve as a pretty good deterrent as well. But in New Orleans, I don't know. We'll speak with Steve Houck on that and what happened on New Year's Eve. Oneida County Executive Anthony Pisani talking about economic development plans for 2025. We had a question yesterday. This is how it works. Kathy in Rome, she calls in, says, I hear something is going. They're going to be putting
a warehouse coming,
a new distribution center. And I'm wondering if you can get to the bottom of it. We have the county executive on today. Boom.
Yes. And we're also going to be talking to him about the snow emergency that is still in effect as a result of all the lake effect snow. So
what I find very funny is Washington, D.C. is just basically stranded.
Yes.
It is a parking lot that is just a city that's turned into a parking lot. People can't get to work. They can't get to school. They can't blah, blah, blah. They got 5 inches of snow.
It was probably bedlam there. Mayhem.
Absolutely. That's exactly it. And one interview I saw on TV was a woman saying, I have never seen this much snow fall all at the same time. I'm like, you have got to be kidding me.
Go up north, lady.
Well, listen, here we are in Marcy, and there's got to be close to 2 feet out there. In North Utica, there are reports, your own reports, of upwards of nearly 3 feet of snow that fell over the last 4 days. And in D.C., but you know what? They're used to a dusting.
If that lady wants to come to see snow, have her come to my house. I'll show her all the snow banks and everything we got there.
Did you get your car out?
Yes, I did.
Have you been able to figure out exactly how much snow fell, Davey?
One report I got from a friend is that we got 57 inches.
Okay. You didn't measure anything like that?
No.
Yeah. No. That would actually exceed your yardstick.
Yes.
Yeah. Puts you in a real
have
pickle.
It long enough.
But my sister and my brother-in-law live over in Westernville near Woods Valley, and he called and texted in yesterday that they got over almost 74 inches of snow.
That's what we're hearing. Yeah, it's incredible. And still, we got probably another quarter of an inch to an inch overnight, depending on where you are. And
little dusting.
Cold, very, very cold weather.
And we probably got a lot more if we were living up on our old house before we moved down. Because
Snow Mountain, when you lived up on Snow Mountain, remember that?
Because there was a difference in atmosphere area. Because my mom would call my dad when he was here and say, "How's the snow down at your house?" And my dad would say, "It's only snowing a little bit." But then she would say, "Oh, it's terrible out here at our house."
Yeah, and I'll bet it was difficult for you to kick a field goal at that level.
Yeah.
Right?
But I shanked it right.
You shanked it right. Yeah, it happens all the time in Denver.
Yeah.
Speaking of that, the Bills will be playing the Denver Broncos coming up on Sunday, 1 p.m.
That is right.
CBS. I love coming back with 2025 updates. So what is one of the other questions? And is it Wayne? Who Deeds in New Hartford? Who's the person that keeps asking us the question about when is the Utica Business Park, when is Lapola's name going to be taken off the Utica Business Park?
I think it is Deeds, yeah.
I'm told, I
had heard the sign was being manufactured or built.
It's already covered.
Yeah, okay.
It's already ready to be unveiled. And we know
it's in place and covered.
Oh, I believe it's done.
But if you go on the backside, if you're talking about it by Home Depot, it has the new name on it.
It already has a new name.
Yeah.
Which is?
DeMio.
Yeah. It's Ford DeMio or DeMio Ford.
Oh, very nice.
So Nancy Ford, who actually I just posted some amazing photos of our Christmas show.
She's awesome.
And she did all
the slimming shots of me, which was
such a tremendous job. Anyway, her dad was instrumental in putting that park together because he had worked for Utica College, was owned the property at the time. And Steve DeMeo, while I'm not sure how much involvement he had in the Utica Business Park, he certainly has had during his lifetime. Mm-hmm. Sadly, we lost him in March of last year. We have seen him the accomplishments that he's made that have been just instrumental in the area. I believe it will be the Steve DeMeo Ford Business Park.
I love that.
I actually could tell you what the name actually reads. Do you care to know right now?
It's DeMio Ford Business Park because I passed it this morning on
Ford.
my radio.
Okay. So the backside is not covered.
The backside is the current name, though. The Pola Ford is still on the business side.
I think there's a covering on it, isn't there? Are you
no,
saying
it hasn't been
on Burstone Road?
Okay. Yeah, right over at the park. Is it the Burstone Road side?
You're saying the French Road side is already unveiled. Bill's saying the Burstone Road side is covered.
The Burstone Road wasn't covered when I drove by this morning.
Okay.
It still has. Right. It's the other part that's not covered at the French Road.
Well, listen, the reality is after the things that Lulapola did while having the school district, the well-being of the school district at his responsibility, and taking money from people who were thinking they were giving to a charity and spending that money on his own
disgusting
wants and desires, his name needs to come off. What a shame. What a fall from grace. Mm-hmm. Lulapola. Wow. Ryan Schmelz talking about President Biden permanently. He's pulling out all the stops right now, getting everything done. Although these are things that probably will change once Trump comes into office. Ryan Schmelz on the line right now. Good morning, Ryan. Good morning.
Hey, good morning.
Happy New Year to you.
Happy New Year.
So what do we know about this? So a ban on some 625 million acres in the ocean.
Yeah, pretty much it's an offshore drilling ban, and one thing that kind of stands out, which makes this one unique, is that there was a law that President Biden was able to tap into, which makes it very hard for President-elect Trump to reverse this via executive order. So President-elect Trump is going to need Congress to likely pass some type of reversal of this, and that kind of puts them in a tricky situation. There's a 2-seat majority Republicans are going to have. I mean, doesn't mean they can't do it. Certainly, I think energy policy is one of the things that they're actually united on in the House, and they could probably get some Democrats on board too, especially some blue dog Democrats who might not always be on the same page with the Biden administration, especially when it comes to offshore drilling.
Yeah. All right. This is going to be interesting to see where it all goes. I do want to ask you, I know you're short on time, but the big question is not offshore drilling, but onshore snow travel. How are you doing on the streets of Baltimore? How is the weather there?
The streets of D.C. are snowy. I've been walking a lot. I've not driven too much in the snow yet. But the big question I have is that I got tickets to the game on Saturday, and I think we're supposed to get even more snow in Baltimore then, so I'm a little worried.
Just to let you know, our man Davey, who answers the phone for you, at his home, they received how many inches of snow?
57.
He's got 57 inches of snow outside his doorstep.
So just imagine where you are, 52 more inches.
That's right. Just another 50 inches, and you'll be all set. So. All right. Well, listen. Have a wonderful week and stay safe out there. Thanks, man.
It sounds good, guys. Thank you.
All right. Ryan Schmelz from Fox News Radio. Let me break quickly, and I got a bunch more to get to coming up here. Aaron Rodgers. I don't know what has happened here, but all of a sudden, after a couple of maybe a couple of decent performances, breaking a record that really was set long before he became a New York Jet. I mean, really, it was put in place.
Yeah.
All of a sudden now, everybody loves Aaron Rodgers. And meanwhile,
you're only as good as your last game.
The Jets are in a shambles right now.
Yes.
And we'll talk a little bit about that coming up. Also, TikTok might not be going away after all.
Really?
You know that President Trump wants a solution. He is really not for... Even though this has been made law, by the way, he is not for TikTok disappearing. However, is there a buyer for TikTok? And the answer to that is, I believe there might be. We'll get to it. Coming right up at WIBX.
Get a smile for all seasons at Shulman and Rosansky Family Dentistry.
I'm Andrew Rosansky, inviting you to call us for crowns and veneers that will give you a beautiful smile that will keep you smiling year-round. Call us today.
Get a smile for all seasons at Shulman and Rosansky Family Dentistry, 1 Paris Road, New Hartford, and online at uticasmiles.com.
Life insurance. Why are you putting it off? Can't afford it? Too much hassle? Think you don't need it? There's lots of excuses for putting off life insurance. But if you weren't there, who would pay the mortgage and other bills? With Ethos, you could be covered in 10 minutes and boom, family protected. Ethos, fast and easy online term life insurance. Up to $2 million in coverage with no medical exam. Some policies as low as $1 a day. Answer a few health questions and get your free quote at getethos.com. That's getethos.com.
The new year means new health goals, not just for your body, but your finances too. Your personal info is in so many places that are outside of your control. It only takes one mistake, and not even your mistake, to expose you to identity theft and lost funds. If your identity's stolen, LifeLock's restoration specialist will fix it, guaranteed, or your subscription money back, and resolve to make identity, health, and wealth part of your New Year's goals with LifeLock. Visit LifeLock.com and save up to 40% off your first year with promo code CLAY. Terms apply.
Mattress Express's New Year's blowout is on. Save up to $800 on Tempur-Pedic, Sealy, Stearns & Foster, and Purple. Take up to 5 years to pay with no money down for qualified buyers and no credit check payment plans available. Call 1-800-NEW-BEDS or just stop in.
Good morning, WIBX 950 AM 92.3 FM news time, 6:38. I'm Andrew Derminio. Right now we're at 13 degrees. Feels like 1 below under partly cloudy skies. Your full weather forecast is coming up. A resident of Rome has lost his life after being struck on the New York State Thruway. On January 4th, shortly before noon, state police responded to reports of a pedestrian being hit by a vehicle on I-90 in Canajoharie. Officials say the investigation determined a westbound vehicle being driven by 61-year-old David Bonaparte of Rome stopped on the northern shoulder. Bonaparte exited the vehicle and was struck by another westbound vehicle. State police reported he suffered critical injuries and was pronounced dead at the scene. The investigation into the incident is ongoing. A Yorkville business was closed yesterday following a search of the premises. The scene featured a parking lot filled with both marked and unmarked police vehicles along Champlain Avenue. The establishment is the Finesse Deli Mart Express. However, it housed New York City exotic snacks, which was the focus of the search. The Oneida County District Attorney reported investigators uncovered violations of New York State cannabis law. The investigation was supported by the New York State Office of Cannabis Management, as well as the Yorkville and Utica Police Departments and the Oneida County Sheriff's Office. A Syracuse man will be spending time behind bars following the fentanyl overdose death of a toddler. Yesterday, Curtis Rouse pleaded guilty to multiple crimes, including criminally negligent homicide, after the tragic passing of 2-year-old Malaya Blue back in April of 2023. Rouse and his girlfriend were responsible for watching Blue, who was later found unresponsive at a home and pronounced dead at a nearby hospital. Rouse is facing a maximum sentence of 5 years behind bars. And the Syracuse men's basketball team will be back on their home court tonight as the squad tries to snap a 2-game losing streak. The Orange are hosting their ACC rival Georgia Tech Yellow Jackets at the JMA Wireless Dome. SU last played Saturday when they were beaten by Florida State 90-74, dropping their record this season to 6 wins and 8 losses. Tip-off this evening is scheduled for 7 p.m. WIBX 950 AM 92.3 FM news time, 6:41. Your weather forecast is now.
Cold is here to stay, and snow showers over the next few days could bring accumulations to a couple of inches in some spots, with the more persistent bands coming in off of Lake Ontario. Certainly not what we've just come out of. So bundle up as we struggle to get to 20 today with a gusty wind. It will feel at or maybe below zero at times, especially this morning. Scattered snow showers or snow showers tonight, tomorrow, and it stays cold. I'm Ray Stajic at the Weather Channel, WIBX 950 AM and 92.3 FM.
Moving on up, 14 degrees. Feels like 1 below under partly cloudy skies at 6:42.
WIBX. This is Keeler. WIBX 950 and 92.3 FM. Now back to the Keeler Show.
I see that, Davey. I see that. Every time I think about you, yeah. I'll never get the words right. Anyway, Stefan Rubitsky on the line right now. Good morning, Stefan. Good morning. You're live.
Well, Happy New Year, Bill, Andrew, and Davey.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year to you, man.
Now, I am running for Utica City Council in the 3rd Ward as an independent.
I love this. I absolutely love this. You have gotten everything you need to from the Board of Elections?
By the way, Andrew wants to be your campaign manager.
Listen, I'll do it. Yes, I do.
You almost said for free.
I almost said for free.
And my idol is already on the council, Samantha Colosimo Texta.
Okay. All right. So you're going to model yourself after her.
Yes.
All right. I like it.
All right. You got to start having no-holes-barred Facebook posts now.
Now, will you caucus with the Republicans or the Democrats?
Oh, good question.
I'll work with both sides because you got to work with both sides.
That is true. Yeah, that's true.
You got to be transparent and you got to get along with everyone.
That is so true. All right. So when are the elections? When are the council?
Probably
it is in November.
November, yeah.
Yeah, being a city.
You're not being primaried for the independent line, are you?
I gotta find out. I'll
there wouldn't be there
to Board of Elections. I was online yesterday trying to get information on the Board of Elections website.
All right. Well, you won't have to worry about a primary if you're running as an independent.
Right.
Right. You'll just be but you got to get enough signatures in order to be on the ballot. I don't know what that is, but we can kind of look into that for you. You know who could really help you is your idol.
Yes, Sam Colosimo Testa.
Yeah, she probably could. Reach out to her. She could give him a little information there. So, what would you if elected? What would you want to accomplish?
What's your first goal, or
what's your platform?
Well, be informed with what's going on at the former St. Elizabeth's Hospital site.
All right.
That's a big issue in South Utica.
Yeah.
And also the old Panorama bowling alley, which is empty and up for sale right now. What the heck's going to go on there?
Yeah.
I guess that would be in his district.
I got to tell you,
Utica.
We were at, over the break while on vacation. I had to go to Buffalo, and I wrote about that today. There's a pretty in-depth story on the type of cancer that I have and all of that.
And you did a good job, by the way. I read it last night. Superb job on your part.
Thank you, Davey.
You're
Thank
welcome,
you.
Bill. You're welcome.
I was thinking about you as I was writing it. You're a cancer survivor as well. Anyway, I'm doing very, very well with the treatment and with the study. Nonetheless, on our way back, my wife wanted to stop at a mall, and I said, malls are like, are there any stores open? I mean, what are we going to do? And we went to the mall in Rochester, and that mall is booming.
Yeah.
It is. I forgot the name of it. Probably because I was sitting in front of the fireplace. Literally, they have fireplaces all over.
In the mall?
In the mall, you're sitting in these comfortable chairs, and it was just perfect. Like, because after I'd gone to the Apple store, I'm like, all right, I'm just going to sit here.
And let your wife do the rest of the shopping.
Have my little espresso and sit here and wait.
It wasn't the Eastview Mall in Rochester, was it?
Davey, you nailed it.
Yeah, I've been there for a couple of Comic-Con.
I got to tell you something. The place, the restaurants are there. The stores are all there. I know Rochester is bigger, but we were at a mall in Buffalo a while back, and that mall is struggling. And then, the mall we also were at, apparently we were mall traveling.
Mall hopping?
We were at we were at Crossgates too.
Oh, in Albany, yeah.
Over the weekend.
We go to the outlet.
Albany.
We go to the outlet in Niagara Falls.
Crossgates is also doing pretty well.
Yes.
A lot of those. So why is it that some malls? Because Buffalo is a pretty big city, and they have a mall that's like at Syracuse has a mall that's like falling to pieces now.
Yeah, I don't know. It must come down to management.
I don't know what it is. Although I will say that Eastview Mall has stores in it you will only find in like New York City. So there are a lot of high-end stores, but our mall here is filled with
Tights R Us and
Tom, Dick, and Harry's. What do they sell at Tom, Dick, and Harry's? Really? We don't sell anything. We just put a person at the counter. People walk by. It's amazing.
Leggings, the leggings store. You can get all sorts of leggings.
We live in the back. It is the weirdest stores. Like, I feel we should do a contest. I used to do these little things where you'd pick a movie title. Is it a regular movie or is it an adult film?
Oh.
But I think we ought to do, the contest should be, and maybe we'll give Davey an assignment to get the names of these. The contest should be, is it a store in Sangertown Square, or do we make that crap up?
I love it. Let's do it.
Doolittle's, is it really a store?
Oh, boy.
Or did we make that up? Yeah. I mean, there's just all of these stores. Like, I don't know who would go in there to buy anything. And I almost kind of wonder if it's like, well, we just have all of this inventory left over. Let's see if we can get these people in Utica to purchase this crap.
We're a money laundering operation.
That might be it, too. We make all of our money selling online.
It's a front.
I don't understand it all. But why are some malls thriving and other malls failing? Almost as if the concept of the mall is gone. And I don't understand that because where we live, it's 13 degrees out right now.
Yeah, you want to go.
Do you want to go from store to store outdoors, parking lot, walk through the slush, get yourself in the store, and you're there. You take your coat off, and I don't understand why
The
that's
mall
not a
walkers
bigger deal.
like it because they're walking in the warmth. Is Stefan still on the line? Did we lose Stefan?
Hello, Stefan. Good morning.
I forgot.
Yes,
we were talking.
and with Sangertown Mall, their food court is less to be desired. They only have a couple of eateries now in the food court.
Well, luckily they still have Sicilian Delight. It's probably the thing that's keeping them going.
Yep.
I mean, because that pizza's really good.
Yes, it is. It's really good.
But McDonald's is gone, right? There's no more McDonald's there.
Oh, that was good.
There's Tiki Ha-Ha's and the Dickle Duties, the Korean outlet, which is which you can buy clothes and food at the same place.
At the same time.
Yeah, it's really nice.
Well, that was the real heyday of that mall was when you had McDonald's and then the arcade and the cinemas right in the same. Wrong. Well, that was my heyday.
The real heyday was when they had the arcade, when they had the movie theater, and they had margaritas in center court.
Oh yeah, I forgot.
It was kind of like a Margaritaville look to it.
Now they have Mr. Smoothie.
Yeah.
If they still have it.
Yeah. All right, Stefan. Well, listen, good luck. And
we're going to do everything we can to help you have a shot at this thing here, Stefan. That's my goal anyway, so.
All right. Have a nice
day. Stay warm today, guys.
Yeah, we're going to try. We are going to try. Okay. Thank you, Stefan.
Bye-bye.
Have a great day. Go Bills. Go Bills. Okay, I have a couple of other things that I wanted to squeeze in here that I thought were pretty good. I mentioned TikTok may very well be. I'm going to break for 30 seconds.
I'm going to have to combine those.
Combine those two. I don't care what they say. I'm not breaking for 30 seconds. Are you freaking kidding me? Unbelievable.
I'm just doing what I was told.
Put the 30 in with a minute 30 and make it a 2-minute break.
I can't do it.
You're going to get in trouble.
Oh, well, I'll bet I am.
No.
I did want to bring up that it looks like Mr. Wonderful. What's going on? It looks like Mr. Wonderful from Shark Tank is almost ready to finish a deal that will buy TikTok. So I think TikTok is going to survive, believe it or not. What's his name? Do you remember his name? Mr. Wonderful?
Kevin O'Leary?
It's something like that. Anyway, I do like that show when we
Kevin
when we
O'Leary. He's also one of the people that is trying to get legs to this 51st state thing with Canada.
Well, that's not going anywhere.
I know, but he's he's all over the news saying that he's all about it.
Party City is auctioning off the remainder of their properties. This is all over, and there's a Party City here. All of their some 600 stores around I believe it's 695 stores in the United States are going to be closing down. The remaining 155 stores are spread through Canada, Puerto Rico, and Mexico. But I think everything is closing. They're selling everything off. So Party City is gone. You're going to have to get your crap somewhere else when you're having a party. Here's Wayne. Good morning, Wayne.
Yeah, Party City's a bunch of overpriced junk and a bunch of senseless crap.
Well, I see
Tell us how you really feel.
I see you've been dragged in there, too.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, Angeline. Well, come on, let's just go in there. I need this. But she finds what she needs. But you look through there, and it's just like, wow, what a bunch of inventory that just sits there.
When you look to your wife and say, I need an entire 5-gallon pail of lavender M&Ms, where should we go? You know you're going
well,
to.
we're not going to Manhattan. We're where the M&M store is.
You go right to Party City, and they have you covered.
And don't look at the date on the pack because they may have been made in the 80s.
That is correct.
Right. Yeah. How long have those lavender M&Ms been in there?
Yeah.
You look on there, and you can never find the date because it's been like hairsprayed off.
But it is the place you end up going. Like when my daughter and sons they had their graduation party, you got to go there to get all the stupid stuff that you're putting throughout the party, all the decorations and stuff. But,
who's going to hold all that dumb stuff now?
I think Amazon. You're going to buy that crap online.
Oh yeah,
so
you're right. Yep.
That's Ed Welsh texting in this morning. Good morning, Ed. The concept that killed the malls is called Amazon.
Yeah, you're right. You're absolutely right.
I can get my leggings and my lavender M&Ms on Amazon.
I always thought it was what killed the malls was that they charge $2,000 for a spot that's only making
the rents are high
a week.
Well, that is a major problem, but clearly with Dickie Doodles there, that can't be the same rate. They got to be getting a deal. Some of those stores, I don't know that they've ever sold an item. I mean, how much rent? How much rent could they be paying? They can't be paying that much rent.
Right, it's who you know when it comes to that.
So,
Bill, you know that place you're talking about on the corner, that one that just got busted for the drug trafficking?
New York Mills, or it's New York Mills, Yorkville.
Yeah.
We have literally gone by that place probably for the last 3 or 4 years, and they changed. I said to Angeline, that's a money laundering place. I said they turned around and changed the name on that place 5 times in a matter of that time, maybe more.
Yeah.
I had there is something crooked. I go.
I don't know of any. I'd never been in there. So
there was a
I've
pizza
never been
place
there neither, but I definitely been by there.
There was a pizza place that was supposed to go in there.
There was a pizza place there. Sal owned it, and it was legitimate.
Yeah.
After Sal, whatever happened when Sal dropped it, that was the end of any legitimacy.
Is this on Oriskany Boulevard?
It's Champlain Ave if you're going down in Campbell, where it intersects.
Right down to the bottom.
Yeah.
Okay.
On
I know
the Boilermaker route.
Yeah. All right.
The
Interesting
police
stuff.
have nothing better to do than to stare at that place and say, hey, something's not going right. Let me go in there and grab a sandwich. We're not serving sandwiches there, sir.
We got New York City exotic snacks.
Something's going on in there. All right, Wayne, thank you, man. And by the way, was it you that was asking about the Utica Business Park sign? Because I think we're done now.
Wayne had a great line.
No. Larry, I think Larry was
Larry,
there.
yes. Okay, that's awesome.
Yep.
All right, thank you, Wayne.
Later,
Have a great day.
2 things quick. Matt and Highland Patton, remember roller skating rink in Sangertown Mall? And Jody in Canastota.
I do not remember.
Yeah, I was just in, this is Jody in Canastota. I was just in Nashville and Florida recently, and their malls are alive and well. It's great.
That's what I'm saying. Crossgates looked really good. Eastview in Rochester is booming. They have valet parking at that mall.
Wow.
But Rochester's an affluent city compared to like a Buffalo, Syracuse, Utica. Albany, more affluent. Maybe that's what it takes to make these things work.
Well, but Syracuse used to have 3 malls. They had Shopping Town in DeWitt. They had Destiny, or what is
I don't
Destiny
know what
now?
happened to whatever it is now, Destiny, because there were just so many things to do. You could go there and your kids could go wild on all the games and
well, they had a lot of crime and stuff there,
and
too.
it became a few
Great
shootings.
Northern too in Syracuse.
Great Northern, thank you.
Well, I wanted to get this in. Bill Murray is doing a tour. I wonder if he'll come close to here. They're saying it's horrible, but I would be there to watch it. He's apparently touring. It's Bill Murray and his Blood Brothers, and he is touring. They come in and they go to bars and places and they perform. And Bill Murray apparently is a bit on the horrible side.
Oh boy!
So they're saying. I mean, you be the judge. You want to listen to it?
Yeah.
This is Bill Murray and his Blood Brothers. Listen to this.
It's not awful.
Listen, I'd love it. It's Bill Murray, for God's sake.
Come on. You've heard worse karaoke than that.
By the way, I'm told Kevin O'Leary is Canadian, which is why he's on the 51st State issue, and got a bunch of other people piping in. We'll get to all that coming up. Next hour, we have news coming up.
It's time to stop letting road conditions dictate your journey. Nokian Tires all-weather tires are versatile enough for summer heat, spring rain, and winter snow, allowing you to forget the forecast so you can focus on the road ahead, not the road below. Forget the forecast with a year-round tire approved for winter use. Find Nokian Tires all-weather tires at Tallman's Tire and Auto Repair with locations in Utica, Yorkville, Rome, and Herkimer. Learn more at tallmanstire.com.
New year, new job? Warner Sales and Service is looking for a mechanic, someone with mechanical abilities interested in working on small engines, new equipment setup, and some basic diesel and hydraulic repairs. You'd be working on the complete line of Bobcat construction equipment and Hustler turf equipment. Applicants must have 1 to 2 years experience or training in engine mechanics, have strong diagnostic abilities, and be able to follow troubleshooting procedure and service manual instructions. Apply today at their office just off Route 365 between Rome and Verona, or online at warnerss.com.
Oh no, stomach issues again?
Stomach issues?
Who are you?
Your pancreas. I could be the real reason for your diarrhea, gas, bloating, stomach pain, or loose oily stools.
I thought it was my stomach.
People often do, but any of these symptoms could mean having a condition called exocrine pancreatic insufficiency, or EPI. With EPI, the pancreas doesn't release enough enzymes to break down food, but EPI is manageable. Use the symptom checker on identifyepi.com and speak with your doctor. That's identifyepi.com. Sponsored by AbbVie.
It's time to stop letting road conditions dictate your journey. Nokian Tires all-weather tires are versatile enough for summer heat, spring rain, and winter snow, allowing you to forget the forecast so you can focus on the road ahead, not the road below. Forget the forecast with a year-round tire approved for winter use. Find Nokian Tires all-weather tires at Tallman's Tire and Auto Repair with locations in Utica, Yorkville, Rome, and Herkimer. Learn more at tallmanstire.com.
From the Stanley Theater Studio, WIBX Utica, Rome, W295EI, WIBX 950 and 92.3 FM, a Town Square media station.
Setting terror suspects free. I'm Dave Anthony, Fox News. President Biden, with just 13 days left in office, letting more prisoners leave Guantanamo. Fox's Peter Ducey reports.
11 Yemeni prisoners are on their way to Oman.
They were never charged while being held at the U.S.-run prison in Cuba, set up in 2002 during the War on Terror.
A lawyer for 2 of the detainees says they want to live their lives, they want to get married, they want to have kids, they want to get a job and have normal lives.
There are now just 15 prisoners left at Guantanamo. Last night in New Orleans, a prayer service after the New Year's Day terror attack that killed 14 people. President Biden says he went
to grieve with you, to pray with you, to let you know you are not alone.
Today, the president will be in California to dedicate 2 new national monuments to preserve more than 800,000 acres from mining and other development. The day after Biden ordered to ban offshore drilling in some areas of the east and west coast and Gulf of Mexico, preserving 625 million acres of ocean. President-elect Trump tells the Hugh Hewitt radio show,
I will unban it. I have the right to unban it immediately. What's he doing? Why is he doing it? We have oil and gas at a level that nobody else has, and we're going to take advantage of it.
The earth quaked in Tibet, and it is a disaster that's left at least 95 people dead.
The earthquake struck Tibet's holy city of Shigatse around 9 a.m. local time with a magnitude of 7.1. The epicenter just 50 miles northeast of Mount Everest. On China's state broadcaster CCTV, they're showing images of collapsed buildings and destroyed homes. Rescue workers in orange suits clambering over the wreckage.
That's Fox's Jonathan Savage. That winter storm that hit from Kansas all the way to the East Coast, blamed for 7 deaths. There are still about 300,000 power outages, more than 400 flights canceled today on top of the 4,000 plus cancellations Sunday and Monday. America's listening to Fox News.
Progressive presents Employee of the Month. Small Business Edition. Today's recipient from Lucky Larry's Landscaping, Larry! Larry saved his business money with a quick commercial auto quote from Progressive. Does it help he's his own marketing manager, accountant, executive assistant, and never been late? Technically, yes, but saving really put him over the edge. So, Larry, give Larry a round of applause. Be your own Larry. See if you could save in as little as 7 minutes at ProgressiveCommercial.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates.
You said bye-bye to big government. Now it's time to trim the fat from big wireless. Pure Talk gives you the exact same service. They use the same cell towers, the same 5G network. You get better customer service, and you pay half the price for the exact same thing. Get unlimited talk, text, 15 gigs of data with mobile hotspot for just $35 a month. Make the switch. You simply dial pound 250, say the keyword, save now, save an additional 50% off your first month. Pure Talk, America's wireless company.
He already had the cases dropped, where President-elect Trump wants to keep details of his 2 federal indictments under wraps. There are numerous reports Trump co-defendants in the classified documents indictment filed a motion with Judge Eileen Cannon, who oversaw the case, asking her to block special counsel Jack Smith from releasing a report. Now, Trump lawyers wrote a letter to Attorney General Merrick Garland to also stop Smith from releasing that report, and also details of the election interference case. All this the same day the Trump election victory was certified.
Donald J. Trump of the state of Florida has received 312 votes.
Vice President Harris had to preside over her own Electoral College defeat in a joint session of Congress.
Vice President Kamala Harris says the peaceful certification of an election should be the norm and taken for granted by Americans.
I do believe very strongly that America's democracy is only as strong as our willingness to fight for it.
Former Vice President Mike Pence, who was evacuated from the Capitol as rioters interrupted the electoral count 4 years ago, said he welcomed the return of order and civility and called it particularly admirable that Vice President Harris would preside over the certification of a presidential election she lost. At the White House, Jared Halpern, Fox News.
McDonald's is joining a growing list of companies ditching DEI programs amid a conservative backlash.
Walmart, John Deere, Harley-Davidson, and other companies have also dialed back diversity programs. Among its plans, McDonald's will no longer set goals for representation in hiring and will not require its suppliers to sign mutual commitments to diversity, equity, and inclusion. Despite these new moves, McDonald's remains committed to inclusion and will continue to support efforts that ensure a diverse base of employees, suppliers, and franchisees. Hillary Barsky, Fox News.
On Wall Street, stock futures are rising ahead of today's trading. I'm Dave Anthony. This is Fox News.
Good morning, WIBX 950 AM 92.3 FM news time. 7:05. I'm Andrew Derminio. Right now, it's 14 degrees in Marcy. Feels like 1 below. We have partly cloudy skies. We've got your full forecast coming up. This update brought to you by the Stanley Center of the Arts. A resident of Rome lost his life after being struck on the New York State Thruway. On January 4th, shortly before noon, state police responded to reports of a pedestrian being hit by a vehicle on I-90 in Canajoharie. Officials say the investigation determined a westbound vehicle being driven by David Bonaparte of Rome stopped on the northern shoulder. Bonaparte exited the vehicle and was struck by another westbound vehicle. State police reported he suffered critical injuries and was pronounced dead at the scene. The investigation into the incident is still ongoing. The driver of the second vehicle promptly stopped, alerted emergency services, and has been cooperative through the investigation. That's according to officials. A Yorkville business was closed yesterday following a search of the premises. The scene featured a parking lot filled with both marked and unmarked police vehicles along Champlain Avenue. The establishment is the Finesse Deli Mart Express. However, it housed NYC Exotic Snacks, which was the focus of the search. The Oneida County District Attorney reported the investigators uncovered violations of New York State cannabis laws. The investigation was supported by the New York State Office of Cannabis Management, as well as the Yorkville and Utica Police Departments and the Oneida County Sheriff's Office. A man will be spending time behind bars in Syracuse following the fentanyl overdose of a toddler. Yesterday, Curtis Rouse pleaded guilty to multiple crimes, including criminally negligent homicide, after the tragic passing of 2-year-old Malaya Blue back in April of 2023. Rouse and his girlfriend were responsible for watching Blue, who was later found unresponsive at home and pronounced dead at a nearby hospital. Rouse is facing a maximum sentence of 5 years behind bars. This week, sharpshooters will be spreading out across the Syracuse region to start the annual process of culling deer. Any shooting will be done at night, and bait sites for deer are going to be at least 500 feet away from any occupied building. A deer management program was launched in 2019 with officials saying it is needed since the animals can pose a risk to public health. Since that program started, hundreds of deer have been removed from the city's neighborhoods. WIBX 950 AM, 92.3 FM news time, 7:08. Here's your weather forecast.
Stay and snow showers over the next few days could bring accumulations to a couple of inches in some spots, with the more persistent bands coming in off of Lake Ontario. Certainly not what we've just come out of. So bundle up as we struggle to get to 20 today with a gusty wind. It will feel at or maybe below zero at times, especially this morning. Scattered snow showers or snow showers tonight, tomorrow. It stays cold. I'm Ray Stajic at the Weather Channel, WIBX 950 AM and 92.3 FM.
All right, now 14 degrees, feels like one below under partly cloudy skies at 7:09. In sports, the Giants are deciding to keep general manager Joe Schoen and head coach Brian Daboll. Team president John Mara released a statement Monday saying, as disappointing as the results of the season have been, Steve Tisch and I remain confident in the process that Joe and Brian have implemented and their vision for our team. End quote. New York finished the season last in the NFC East at 3-14 and hold the third overall pick in the 2025 NFL Draft. Let's just talk about that for a second. The GM and coach that they're keeping, Joe Schoen and Brian Daboll, were responsible for the decision of signing Daniel Jones to a long contract for a lot of money. He's no longer with the team. And they let Saquon Barkley go. But they keep their jobs.
I like him as a coach, Daboll. I like him. I think the keeping him is not a bad idea.
I agree, too. I like him as a coach. He's
so
offensive-minded is what he is.
If you like the coaching decision, that GM, he single-handedly kind of put you in the most terrible position you could be in.
Well, the GM came from Buffalo. He was one of Billy Beane's Brandon Beane's right-hand man.
Okay.
So, as long as they don't, Davey, if I'm correct, as long as they don't come from Green Bay, we'll be okay. Right. The Giants will be just fine.
Because it's from Buffalo, that's why he has concerns with it.
Right, exactly.
All right. Okay.
Rex Ryan, this is a really amusing story. Rex Ryan is ready to reset the culture in the Meadowlands.
Talk about a guy who has just put himself, all by himself, into the talk about who's going to be the next coach.
Yeah. Well,
if you notice, no other stories mention him except for stories where he's quoted.
Yeah. During his radio appearance on Monday, the former NFL head coach said that if he returns to the Jets, he will be sure to put an end to the Aaron Rodgers Country Club. Ryan criticized the organization's leadership for allowing Rodgers to take a vacation to Egypt and skip mandatory minicamp last June. During his 6 seasons with the Green and White, Ryan led the team to a 46-50 record. Oh, boy. And back-to-back AFC Championship game appearances in 2009 and 2010. That is incredible, though. I will give him that. With Mark Sanchez, he went back-to-back AFC Championship games.
And here's a guy that got introduced his first year in Buffalo in his introductory press conference. I'm going to take you guys to the Super Bowl in his first season. And then he got ran out of town.
The 62-year-old is scheduled to meet with the Jets front office today in Florida. A lot of other coaching carousel moves. The Bears are continuing their search for a new head coach. ESPN reports they've requested to interview Dallas Cowboys coach Mike McCarthy for its vacant position. Rex Ryan, of course, ready to reset the culture. We went through that. Patriots owner Robert Kraft taking responsibility for the team's recent failure, saying he basically hired Gerard Mayo a little bit too early, put him in an untenable situation, and that he believes he's going to be a good coach, just not right now. And definitely not for New England. They're looking to interview Detroit Lions offensive coordinator Ben Johnson for their opening, or former Tennessee Titans head coach Mike Vrabel may be expected to be a favorite to land that job. The Jaguars moving on from their head coach. Jacksonville fired Doug Peterson yesterday after a 4-13 season. In 3 seasons with the Jags, Peterson went 22-29. He did lead them to a divisional round following the 2022 season, but they missed the playoffs the past 2 years. Green Bay will be without Christian Watson, just riddled with injuries in that Week 18 loss.
And Syracuse plays tonight.
And Syracuse plays tonight.
Yeah. Maybe tonight will be the night they turn things around. I highly doubt it.
Wah-wah.
I do not feel good about this team. And, Davey, the question is, does he survive his coaching job at Syracuse?
I think you give him another year.
Yeah. He's got a big recruiting class coming in next year, but right now it's really rough.
They have a chance to go 2-0 this week. They have Georgia Tech tonight, who's not very good, and then they have a Boston College team on Saturday that they could be
turn things around.
2-0 this week.
Right.
Yeah.
The official coffee of the Keeler in the Morning radio program is Daylight Donuts in New Hartford, and I don't know, for 2025, you want to try something you haven't tried yet? Oh, the matcha green tea latte. So good. And, of course, the pumpkin spice, anything pumpkin spice, is around 12 months out of the year. You can still take advantage of that. Coffee, espressos, lattes, those espressos, just when I am ready to conk out, usually at around 12:30 in the afternoon. That espresso gets me rolling. Gotta love it.
Yep.
And their bagels and their donuts and all of that made fresh every single day at Daylight Donuts, the fastest drive-through. Check it out, Daylight Donuts in New Hartford. Okay, quick break. Coming up, we have a lot to talk about with Dr. Hall. And if there's ever a time where you're paying extra attention to running from the person who just sneezed at the grocery store, or
I'm going to keep myself isolated.
Not, hand to eye, hand to mouth, all that crap. Don't do that. And hand sanitizer. If there's ever a time, it's right now. It looks like we are at a peak of this neurovirus, which is a real...
Yeah.
I'm trying to think of the right word.
Put you in a crappy situation.
I have a word in my mind, but I probably shouldn't use it. It's a stinker. Let's just say that. We'll talk to Dr. Hall on this coming up in a second. And this new diversion order on Wynn Hospital, meaning if you're coming in with an issue to the ER and it is not a heart attack, a stroke, etc., you're diverted to another facility. They are overrun with these viruses in the emergency room, so a lot of questions there. And Congressman John Manion coming up late. What an hour.
It's book salad.
Book salad. Coming up at WIBX.
If you're living with dry age-related macular degeneration or dry AMD, you may be at risk for developing geographic atrophy or GA. GA can be unpredictable and progress rapidly, leading to irreversible vision loss. Now there's something you can do to
slow it down and get it going slower.
Izervay is proven to slow GA progression.
Izervay gets GA going slower.
Izervay or avacincaptad pagel is a prescription eye injection used to treat GA. Don't take it if you have an infection or active swelling in or around your eye. Izervay can cause eye infection, retinal detachment, or increased risk of wet AMD. Izervay may temporarily increase eye pressure. Your vision may be impaired after an eye injection or exam. Don't delay. Ask your doctor about Izervay today.
Izervay gets GA going slower.
Visit Izervay.com. That's IZERVAY.com.
Mattress Express's New Year's blowout is on. Save up to $800 on Tempur-Pedic, Sealy, Stearns & Foster, and Purple. Take up to 5 years to pay with no money down for qualified buyers and no credit check payment plans available. Call 1-800-NEW-BEDS or just stop in.
Before there was social media, streaming, and even color television, there was radio. Remember the golden days when you had to tune in to hear what happened to Hopalong Cassidy or perhaps the Green Hornet? What if you could relive those days again? Hi, I'm Greg Bell, the host of When Radio Was, a show that's dedicated to the very best of radio's golden age. From classic performances by Jack Benny to tales of terror on Lights Out. It's all here on When Radio Was, starting every Sunday at 11 p.m. only on WIBX 950 and 92.3 FM. Which classic broadcast will you hear next?
WIBX.
This is Keeler.
WIBX 950 and 92.3 FM.
Now back to the Keeler Show.
Bop, bop. Bop, bop. So, I don't know, Andrew. Is that too long? That fits right in there, doesn't it? Putting up new blinds in the studio. We are interior decorators here, and I think they fit right in. Why don't you come back and do the show, and then you can fix that one during the next break. Oh, you already fixed it. Beautiful job. I don't think people can see it on camera. That's Andrew. If you're watching on YouTube, you can see him doing his... these are things he learned when he became a real estate agent. I don't know how to put up blinds. Unfortunately, these are clearly going to fall down. At some point. Just get a hammer. Okay, just come back, please. Sit down. I'm going to Dr. Hall. Good morning, Dr. Hall. Good morning. We have a real attention deficit person in the studio right now.
Good morning. How you doing this morning?
Good morning. Okay, let's start with this diversion thing. And I had somebody ask, and I know this puts you in a tough position, but we just are looking for what I know you will give as an honest answer. And that is, was the ER built large enough to handle these spikes that we're dealing with right now, which would, if it was larger, maybe it would prevent a diversion order like this? What are your thoughts?
Yeah, so this is a little complicated. So if you'll give me a little bit of time to kind of explain the whole thing,
okay?
Because it isn't that the emergency department is too small. Could it have been built bigger? Sure, it could have been built bigger. Would that help in this particular instance? Probably not. Okay, so let's go back to the environment that we're in, which we've talked about many times, which is that it is very difficult to fully staff hospitals, especially with nurses and other licensed professionals. Even physicians are difficult to recruit, although not impossible. But we're just having difficulty recruiting nurses and respiratory therapists and basically everybody. And we all know the reason for that, so we don't have to go into that. What that means is that there are fewer people to take care of patients up on the floor after they're admitted, and therefore we try to maintain safety in terms of how many patients are being cared for by a given number of other licensed professionals, nurses, et cetera. And that means that if somebody comes into the emergency department and needs to be admitted, and there is not an immediately available bed upstairs, then they stay in the emergency department to make sure that they continue to receive care. What that effectively does is decrease the size of the emergency department because they're holding patients that would not normally be there.
Right.
And so if you've got a 55-bed emergency department and you're holding 20 people, you only have a 35-bed emergency department.
Well, in some cases, they say that they were holding people in the ambulances because they couldn't get them in, and that was preventing the ambulances from going to new calls. And then beyond that, I'm hearing that nursing staff and doctors are getting sick
based
from
on
this virus,
on the viruses that are coming in and being treated there.
Right, exactly. So all of those things. So you can see the domino effect. If the beds are full upstairs, they stay in the emergency department. If they stay in the emergency department, there aren't beds in the emergency department to offload the ambulances from. And then add to that the fact that the people that take care of patients are human beings also who also get sick.
Yeah.
And then they end up decreasing the number of available staff. You can see where this is kind of it's truly a cascade effect, which can get significantly worse, and that's why we're on this diversion issue. The diversion issue is not just for the win. I mean, it's for, if you look around, Rome has been having issues. Oneida has been having issues. So we're all in this same thing, and I can tell you that when I was at the system. We actually, and I presume that this is going on now, but when I was at the system, we set up a regional chief medical officer, chief physician executive conversation that happened on a regular basis, sometimes on a daily basis, to talk about, who has beds where and, how can we basically load balance. And that works, although it's not a panacea because everybody is suffering from the same ailment, so to speak.
Yeah.
So it is, I'm not there, but what I will say is I do believe that people are doing the best that they can with the resources that they have. And I can tell you as an emergency physician and as a prior EMS medical director that I really appreciate what our EMS folks do. And this really puts a strain on them in terms of needing to, stay with patients for a longer period of time and not being able to be released to go back. Everybody needs to work together and needs to have conversations to figure out how it is that we can best manage this situation for the period of time that we're going to have it. And unfortunately, it always comes during this time of year. If you remember last year at the Wynn, now we just moved in about 2 months earlier, but at the Wynn last year we had similar issues, and it's really for the same things. It's because this is the time of year when people get sick. This is when the norovirus comes and when flu comes, et cetera. So,
we have who I consider an independent source who will tell us when there's a problem and will defend when the hospital needs to be defended. So I consider this person independent. This is what I got. Unfortunately, there's so much upper respiratory going around, plus the horrible norovirus. We can't handle the number of patients to staff. We told EMS not to bring non-trauma, cardiac, or stroke to us so that people don't get stuck in the hallway with EMS. People are blaming the new hospital. St. Luke's used to go on diversion. The same with St. E's. It happens. Can only take care of the amount of people you have staff for. So it's not about the rooms, as you said, Dr. Hall. It's oftentimes, and seems to be in this case, it's about staffing.
Right, and if you recall, the staffing issue has gotten worse in the last several years because of COVID and because of people because of people leaving the profession, retiring early, whatever. That has just kind of made this situation worse. And right now we're going through a norovirus spread, which is much worse than typical. Although norovirus is a seasonal virus, and it does occur, and this is the time of year from now until probably early March is when norovirus is at its peak. So we're just this is what can I tell you? This is just a bad situation compounded.
Okay. What are your thoughts on this new virus they're talking about in China?
Yeah, so that's interesting. There isn't a lot that I have been able to read about it because there's just not a lot out there.
Yeah.
It doesn't look like it's necessarily a new virus. It is just a virus that we haven't seen for a while that is coming back out. And that's about as much as we know. It seems to be a respiratory virus, so it has the usual respiratory symptoms of congestion, cough, shortness of breath, things like that. Beyond that, there's not really a lot known about it. I anticipate, especially with what we've just gone through over the last 4 years, that we're going to see that we're going to be getting a lot more information quickly. Although, again, just as with COVID, the initial information that we get is not going to be definitive. We're going to need to watch it over a period of time so that we can make sure that we are getting what is real. Because initially you see things, but then things shift, and little shifts can cause serious issues with information. So.
Especially with the Chinese government. They're not the most forthcoming. So, all right, Doc, we appreciate it. Thank you so much for the update. We'll do this again next week, and have a wonderful rest of the week.
Sounds good, everybody. Have a great day. Please be safe and stay warm. It is going to be cold.
It is going to be cold.
Yes.
You do the same. Thank you.
Thanks for reminding us.
We mentioned Dr. Gary Zimmer is the chief medical officer at Wynn. Yesterday, the announcement came of a second in the last 4 or 5 days diversion of ambulances at the emergency department. And Dr. Zimmer on the line right now. Doc, good morning. Thanks for coming on.
Good morning. Thank you for having me.
So we were just talking with Dr. Hall, and of course, is he qualified that, he's no longer there. But he said that it's most likely an issue of staffing right now, and these viruses that are coming after the holiday that are getting a bit intense. What do you say about this?
Sure. Well, thank you for giving me the opportunity to call in. I appreciate all the work that Dr. Hall did for Mohawk Valley Health System during his time doing what my job is currently as Chief Medical Officer. I will tell you that the volume that we have seen coming through our emergency department over the last 3 to 4 weeks has been significant and has been increasing. We've been operating at full capacity in our emergency department on our floors the entire time. We've not closed off any areas due to staffing. In fact, we've opened surge beds on the second floor in our perioperative area to handle the increased demand. But this is really about volume of patients and sick patients. This is not a staffing problem for us.
Do you feel this is, here we've come off vacation, and I again, this is anecdotal, but I feel like a lot of people did a lot of traveling during this vacation because it was a little longer. The school was off for 2 weeks. So now everybody's coming back. Everybody's now going back to school. We've seen this with COVID, how this goes in waves. Are you expecting this are we at the peak, or can we expect more severe conditions?
Yeah, it's very difficult to answer that, and I heard the tail end of Dr. Hall's comments. It's very easy in hindsight to tell what's going on. It's very difficult as you're going through it. It's here that we're at the peak yet. This is a combination of a small rise in COVID patients, influenza, RSV, which is the disease that causes bronchiolitis in kids and can cause severe colds in adults. Those numbers are all on the rise. We do track those and report them to the Department of Health as required. But I don't think that we're at the peak just yet. I do think that, a lot of travel and exposures increases the amount of illness that we see. But, our volume increase that we've seen is not just people who are sick with colds and fevers and things like that. We've had a high volume of strokes with the snowstorms. We had a small bump in terms of trauma patients. It's, all of the things that we would normally expect to see then made more challenging just because we have more illness.
Yeah. What do you recommend to? I know that as the husband of an elementary teacher, I recommend parents keep your kids home if they are sick.
Please.
Obviously, there would be recommendations that you might have to help squelch the spread of all of this.
Yes, absolutely. And I think that you said the most important thing, which is if you're sick and you think you're contagious, please don't expose other people. One thing we definitely learned, and really is irrefutable, is that when we were all locked up in our houses during COVID, influenza disappeared for a year, just about. It just didn't spread. And so I think there are lessons we can learn from our experiences from COVID. If you're sick, stay away from other folks. Make sure you're practicing good hand hygiene. Wash your hands whenever you're touching your face or your mouth or your nose. And if you have a family member who's sick, do your best not to be, right up in their faces all the time as best as you can. Obviously, we have to care for our loved ones, but do your best to minimize your chances of getting sick.
All right. And by the way, somebody asking, how many rooms are there at Wynn, ER rooms?
We have 61 rooms in the emergency department at Wynn, and we have over 370 beds in the hospital.
All right. And I will say, last year, when I had come back after traveling with the flu and ended up at Wynn at the ER, I had a great experience there. Really excellent experience. And over the summer, I had a family member who was in there as well. Do you feel that the opening jitters, the issues that have been post COVID and plaguing Wynn, do you feel you guys have reached the other side at this point?
I think that we continue our journey to provide great care every time, all the time. I think we're doing a really good job managing a complex, beautiful new facility. One of the challenges, I'm fairly new to the area. I come from the southeastern Pennsylvania area, is that we had two smaller hospitals that have merged into a pretty large hospital, and operating a big hospital is just very different. I think that the staff every day do an amazing job to take care of patients. And over the course of the summer and the fall, things were starting to run pretty smoothly. And we're hitting sort of the winter challenges associated with more people coming in, with the reality that we do have a nationwide shortage of healthcare providers. But like I said, we've been open for business. we've had all of our areas open and staffed, including surge areas, to be able to handle folks as best as we can.
And I would ask, with the garage open now, obviously that is a better scenario for patients, but also a much better situation for staff.
Absolutely. It's made a huge difference. We have a heated walkway from the garage to get to the main entrance. It's just across, a very short walk from the edge of the garage to the emergency department entrance. It's helped tremendously in terms of getting our staff to work, as well as making sure that we have easy access for our patients at no cost to them.
Okay, Doc, we appreciate the update. Dr. Gary Zimmer, Chief Medical Officer at WIN. We thank you for the update and wish you guys the best during these difficult winter times.
Thank you very much. I appreciate the words of support, and I look forward to speaking with you again soon.
All right. Thanks so much. All right. That's Dr. Gary Zimmer with WIN Hospital, and there's your update on, quote, the diversion. And it is something, as Dr. Hall and both Dr. Zimmer have said, that has been an issue in Rome and at Oneida just recently as well.
For years, and, especially during this cold, flu, and other virus season. This is not a new thing to have happened to healthcare systems in the area.
I do feel like,
but any negative thing or possible thing that some people can latch onto and cause a controversy over, they will.
And I do want to do one more little quick thing. I did write something. There's a story that gives an update, an article that I wrote yesterday on my journey through this cancer, where 5 years later, after having colon cancer, I find out I have somehow developed leukemia. But it turns out it's chronic myeloid leukemia, which if you're going to get this would be the best one to have, because there is a targeted treatment for it, which is a miracle. And I'm on a trial that is doing a clinical test and a clinical trial on a newer medicine, which has fewer side effects. There are side effects, but there are far fewer than what I read that other people are dealing with these other medicines, nonetheless. So in the article, I talk about my experience at Roswell in Buffalo. It is tremendous, and it is remember, it's a facility that is designed to deal with people who are suffering from cancer. Mm-hmm. That and even furthermore, it is sectioned out. Like my department is only deals with leukemia. So your doctor, my doctor, is only dealing every day in and out with leukemia patients. So that's enormous. Sorry, that's one of the side effects. That is enormous.
It's not norovirus.
But the other thing that I mentioned in there is I could have, it was Dr. Desai, who was my doctor after my family doctor discovered the uptick in white blood count. Went to the Utica Cancer Center at Faxton.
Yep.
And he is the one who initially diagnosed it and had a plan for me to go on these medicines. And actually, my insurance company got in. And all of a sudden, everything was underway. But I then had this opportunity to go to Roswell and do a clinical trial, which allowed me to take this medicine with fewer side effects. So could I have been treated here? Absolutely. But do I regret going to Roswell? Not at all. But had I needed to stay here and have it done, I think that I would have been in really good hands with Dr. Desai. With that said, the medicine I'm on, I think very soon will be considered one that can be used for the first medicine for people who are newly diagnosed to be able to take this medicine. The story's on
incredible.
There. It's a long story. Get into it. Maybe you're having your own issue. Hopefully this works and serves as some sort of a source. But at the end of the day, as Tim Reed and I both say, extremely important to get tested. You catch this stuff early, it increases your chances of survival. You absolutely, you can live with this if you catch it early enough.
Amen.
And that is extremely important. Real men get tested. I know we focus on the guys because guys tend to be a little bit on the procrastinating stubborn side. All right, Davey, how much today for free money?
$150
from the Hobico Law Firm. A chance for you to win $150
I said 100.
150. Thank you, Davey.
Thanks, Davey.
I give up.
It is 150 on the line. What caller number are you looking for?
Are you going to change this too?
Maybe. What are you going to come up with?
5.
Caller number 3. That's awesome. Third caller at 315-736-0186. Your chance to win $150 right now from Hobica and WIBX. And then we'll talk to Congressman John Manion coming up at WIBX.
The new year means new health goals, not just for your body, but your finances too. Your personal info is in so many places that are outside of your control. It only takes one mistake, and not even your mistake, to expose you to identity theft and lost funds. If your identity's stolen, LifeLock's restoration specialist will fix it, guaranteed, or your subscription money back, and resolve to make identity, health, and wealth part of your New Year's goals with LifeLock. Visit LifeLock.com and save up to 40% off your first year with promo code CLAY. Terms apply.
Millions of Americans take medicine like Ozempic and Zepbound. Many of them are overpaying by thousands of dollars a year. These GLP-1 medications for diabetes, weight loss, and more may not always be covered by your insurance, but GoodRx can help. GoodRx helps you save every month on prescriptions at over 70,000 pharmacies nationwide. Best of all, it's free to use. Check GoodRx to save on GLP-1s. Just go to GoodRx.com/GLP. That's GoodRx.com/GLP. GoodRx is not insurance, but can be used instead of insurance, including Medicare and other federal and state-funded programs.
Good morning, WIBX 950 AM 92.3 FM News Time, 7:39. I'm Andrew Dominio. Your quick headlines for today. A Rome man was killed on the thruway after being struck by a vehicle. A business in Yorkville, following a search yesterday, was closed down due to alleged violations of New York State cannabis law. A Syracuse man will spend years in prison after admitting to criminally negligent homicide as a result of an overdose death of a toddler named Malaya Blue back in April of 2023. This week, sharpshooters will be spreading out across Syracuse to start the annual process of culling deer. And the Syracuse men's basketball team will be back on their home court tonight as the squad tries to snap a 2-game losing streak. The Orange are hosting their ACC rival, the Georgia Tech Yellow Jackets, at the JMA Wireless Dome. WIBX 950 AM 92.3 FM News Time coming up on 7:40. Here's your forecast.
Cold is here to stay, and snow showers over the next few days could bring accumulations to a couple of inches in some spots, with the more persistent bands coming in off of Lake Ontario. Certainly not what we've just come out of. So bundle up as we struggle to get to 20 today with a gusty wind. It will feel at or maybe below 0 at times, especially this morning. Scattered snow showers or snow showers tonight, tomorrow, and it stays cold. I'm Ray Stajic at the Weather Channel, WIBX 950 AM and 92.3 FM.
15 degrees under partly cloudy skies here in Marcy. Feels like 0 with that wind chill. It is 7:40.
All right, we'll do Hobica's free money question next, and then John Manion, Congressman Manion, is next on WIBX.
It's time to stop letting road conditions dictate your journey. Nokian Tires all-weather tires are versatile enough for summer heat, spring rain, and winter snow, allowing you to forget the forecast so you can focus on the road ahead, not the road below. Forget the forecast with a year-round tire approved for winter use. Find Nokian Tires all-weather tires at Tallman's Tire and Auto Repair, with locations in Utica, Yorkville, Rome, and Herkimer. Learn more at tallmanstire.com.
Standard's philosophy of the whole home approach is to diagnose the root cause of why you're uncomfortable and provide a customized solution that's permanent.
We want to take a look at the whole house, finding the right solution for you, and bringing in a whole team of people who are going to help identify rebates and programs. And those are not just for low-income homeowners. These programs are available for anybody that's looking to upgrade their system now.
Learn more at standardco.com. Call Standard today at 800-738-1424.
The new year means new health goals, not just for your body, but your finances too. Your personal info is in so many places that are outside of your control. It only takes one mistake, and not even your mistake, to expose you to identity theft and lost funds. If your identity's stolen, LifeLock's restoration specialist will fix it, guaranteed, or your subscription money back, and resolve to make identity, health, and wealth part of your New Year's goals with LifeLock. Visit LifeLock.com and save up to 40% off your first year with promo code CLAY. Terms apply.
Millions of Americans take medicine like Ozempic and Zepbound. Many of them are overpaying by thousands of dollars a year. These GLP-1 medications for diabetes, weight loss, and more may not always be covered by your insurance, but GoodRx can help. GoodRx helps you save every month on prescriptions at over 70,000 pharmacies nationwide. Best of all, it's free to use. Check GoodRx to save on GLP-1s. Just go to GoodRx.com/GLP. That's GoodRx.com/GLP. GoodRx is not insurance but can be used instead of insurance, including Medicare and other federal and state-funded programs.
WIBX. This is Keeler. WIBX 950 and 92.3 FM. Now back to the Keeler Show.
All right, let me do Habaika's free money question of the day, and I just want to, just for a moment here, I won't, Chris. I'm going to try not to. For Davey, I want to thank him for increasing the amount to $150.
Yeah, he is.
And
man. He wanted to go to 200, but we said, let's keep it at 150 for
Davey,
now.
good for him. Good for him.
Standing his ground.
Yeah, standing his ground. Here is Bill in Stittville. Hello, William. Good morning.
Good morning, Bill.
How you doing?
Oh, I'm cold.
It is stinking
brutal.
cold.
I hate it.
We had a lot of snow.
I know. How much did you get in Stittville?
At least 30 inches.
Wow.
They said Marcy got 40 inches.
I got to tell you, there's a lot of snow here in Marcy, and we're on, of course, just at the edge of the thruway, and
Bentonville got 5 feet.
5 feet of snow. It's unbelievable.
unbelievable.
Yeah. Meanwhile, in D.C., they have 5 inches, and the entire city is shut down.
Panic!
It's something. All right, Bill, here we go. Here's your question. Totally doable. Chance for you to win $150 from the Habaika Law Firm. And here we go. Here it is. 7 seconds to answer. The world's smallest continent is Australia. What's the 6th smallest? Ready, go.
Gosh.
Oh, I think I know it.
Well, what is your answer?
I would say Europe.
The correct answer is
Antarctica.
Europe.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, yes.
Yeah.
I would have won.
Really?
Europe is the 6th. The smallest, of course, is Australia. The largest. All right, what's the largest?
Oh, it has to
Russia.
be.
Well, Russia would be a country that'd be a part of.
Yeah.
Russia, by the way, is the largest country in the.
It probably would be Africa.
He's right. He's got it. It's Asia.
Asia.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. Well, there we go. We've done a little geography here this morning.
Yeah.
Isn't that nice? Okay.
Isn't that great?
We're gonna give you the $25 food. And you know how smart I feel with the answers right in front of me. It's incredible.
You better be smart.
All right, listen, we're going to give you the all-in-one food and fun card. It's a $25 gift card. Go to the Comets, the Adirondack Bank Center, Nexus, Aquavino, Taylor and the Cook, Babes, you name it. And we'll give you the It's a Utica Thing $25 gift card. It's a Utica Thing kitchen and bar. You can use that $25 gift card there as well. So $50 in stuff for you here as a consolation. Stand by, and Davey has you covered.
Thanks.
All right. Happy New Year, Bill.
Happy New Year to you.
All right. Stand by. On the line right now, Happy New Year to Congressman John Manion. Good morning.
Happy New Year, Keeler.
How are they handling the snow in Washington? Are you guys okay out there?
I give it a 1 out of 10.
Yeah.
So, we all know what it's like to live in central New York in the Mohawk Valley. So things are a little bit different down here. I actually had a flight yesterday at 5 in the morning, which I'm sure the folks at the Syracuse airport were ready to go, but the folks down here were not. So jumped in a car, drove down. Took me about an extra hour than I was planning. But once you get about south of Harrisburg, the driving partners that share the road don't quite know how to do this like we do up north. Yeah.
Now, have you been offering counseling sessions to your colleagues to deal with the snow and the cold?
Listen, I'm not trying to make a pun, but it's a great icebreaker. You know, I get to make fun of everybody here and be like, this is nothing. You know, I'm going to take my coat off. This is a piece of cake. So, but, you know, people give me a little bit of jab on this because they know that we're proud of being able to handle tough weather conditions where we're from. So it's part of the fun.
Okay, so your experience up to this point as an incoming member of Congress.
Yeah, week 1.
Yeah, it's been great. We've gone through extensive training, bipartisan training that I thought was really effective. And already being a legislator, I think, has been very helpful, and I got good people around me. These buildings, I'm in Longworth, which is one of the House buildings. There's tunnels over to the Capitol, and, honestly, it's like any other new job. You're figuring out how to physically get from one place to another place as quickly as possible, the garages and all that stuff. But from a legislative standpoint, I think, my background is helpful, not just being a legislator, but being a teacher and being able to deal with people. We certified the election yesterday. There will be votes, at least one vote today, from what I'm hearing as well. So I think the preparation has been good. Everybody has been fantastic. It's very professionally run. Of course, the buildings are amazing. And if people get a chance to come down here and see how their country operates, I encourage them to do so.
Obviously, you're a Democrat in this Congress, so a member of the minority, and with the incoming president, there's certainly a lot of controversy. We're already arguing over things on both sides. There's still legal action that's still pending in some way or another on the former president. So there's a lot going on. How do you maintain bipartisanship through all of this? And what is your how are you perceiving this mentally as you're going? How are you going into this with the incoming president, Donald Trump?
Right. Well, listen, I certainly was hoping that my side of the aisle would take the House and take the White House, and we did not. And here's where we are. I represent the people of the 22nd District. They expect me to do my job. I'm going to cast votes, and about half of them are probably not, if they know what the legislation is and they know the vote and they know everything behind it, maybe half will like it, maybe half won't. But I'm here to represent those folks, and living in the district my entire life, I've got a pretty good sense of where people are coming from. And I think I know what is frustrating people, which led to the former president's election. And, immigration is certainly an issue. But I think more importantly, affordability in the area is what really hit folks. And whether that was President Biden's fault or not, this is where we are. So we've got to make things more affordable for people. We certainly want the opportunities that exist in the region to continue to grow for people. We love our place where we live. We're proud of it. And we just want to do things that are in the best interest. I've got good relationships with my Republican colleagues that are from New York and otherwise. And like I did in the Senate, I represent a place that's very similar to places that that Republicans represent. So we have a lot of common shared interests, and we've got to work together. We're not always going to agree exactly, and in this highly politicized climate, sometimes things are set up to make a message out of it or make something out of it or make an ad out of it. But, this is a tough business.
Yeah.
You got to be ready for that and take the hits. And I'm going to work with everybody. That's been my reputation. That's what I'm going to continue to do.
Continuing with that theme of what you just said, there's going to be a lot of opportunities for you to potentially be asked to vote in conjunction with your Republican colleagues across the aisle. I think most notably one vote that may come up is this big, beautiful bill that the president keeps talking about. Can you foresee yourself supporting any of that legislation?
You really have to look at the details of it. And what I've seen in the state legislature, particularly in these budget bills, is you get a lot of things in there that you like, and you get a lot of things in there that you don't like. And ultimately, you have to determine if the bill is in the best interest of the people that you represent, and then you cast your vote accordingly. So, the devil's in the details. We're going to have to see what the bill actually has. And, in my opinion, if there's a few bridges too far, and that's where we'll land. So, listen, we've got to get things done. We've got, funding bills that have to go forward. We have immigration reform that has to happen. We have a debt ceiling that has to be increased. we've got to keep the government open, and the economy. The challenge is inflation. Otherwise, there's lots of positives in the economy. We have a strong economy. We don't want a government shutdown or anything else that could slow our progression. It's a challenging time with the cost of things, but also there's great prosperity that's happening as well. So we've got an important job to do. We got to do it, and we'll see what's in the bill.
Here's a listener question for you, Congressman, if you'll take that. This is from Lance and Lee. Please ask Congressman Manion, Trump is going to reverse Biden's anti-drilling for energy law. Will he vote with Trump, or will he vote to keep energy costs high?
Well, yes. So a couple things.
It's a loaded question, by the way.
Well, listen, I just read it as it's wrote.
You should hire that guy. He knows how to write a question.
That's right.
So a couple things here. First of all, I think it's an executive order that the president is talking about. So I may not even be able to get a vote. I do think that we need a reasonable transition, and that includes timeline to move away from fossil fuels. But what people may not know is who's the largest oil producer in the world? It's the United States of America.
Yeah.
And we're almost double, Russia and Saudi Arabia, who are 2 and 3. So listen, I'm glad that gasoline prices have been coming down. I actually passed legislation in the state to suspend our state gas tax for a while when the prices were really high. We want it to be affordable. I do support energy independence, but in a number of ways, and that includes the use of fossil fuels as we make the transition. So I don't think I get a vote on it, but I do believe that we are pumping out more oil in this country, I believe, than ever before, and certainly the most in the world.
Do you have just another 3 minutes for us?
Absolutely.
Okay. I do want to ask you, I do think that people in general want, out of all of this, want Washington to work, want our government to work for us. I think that's really something that we're all looking for. At the same time, we're all dug in pretty tightly, pretty deeply when it comes to where people stand today. I wonder, have you done any reflecting? And I certainly would expect the Democratic Party to do some reflecting. It seems that the Democratic Party has lost a certain part of America, that blue collar portion of America, which it used to own. And so, your assessment: has the overall National Democratic Party lost its way?
I have been a lifelong Democrat. I will continue to be, and I certainly support democratic principles. Like you said, I'm a union guy. I'm a labor guy. I was a union president. My parents were both in a union. My dad was on public assistance. So that's the kind of thing where, whether it's messaging or reality, the Republicans are winning those voters. They're winning them over. And I do think that there's some things policy related that the Democrats dig into a little bit. We dig our feet in. I think it's with good intentions, but sometimes that message can be so easily taken away that we lose it, And immigration is an example, right? So we had the highest number of border engagements, in the early years of the Biden administration, and people were certainly upset, as they should be. And we saw migrants being bused to New York City, and then there's certainly an impact on those folks, an impact on the entire state. People wanted a response quicker, and I think that the Biden administration should have and could have responded quicker than they did, and as a result, it not only is a problem, but it offers up a message that can be used by the other side that was very effective. So for me, I say I know where I live, and I work with everybody, and I break from my party when I think it doesn't work for the people I represent, and I'm going to continue to do that. And I'm going to be, I hope, I try to be overly transparent, because I think a lot of us in politics are shielded, like we shield ourselves, because if you say one wrong thing, it can be clipped and used against
Sure.
you. It was used against me forever and ever again. But I also, whether it's some of the people in New York State, Republicans that are also Congress members, I have a good relationship with them, and I know I've got to work with them. So I'm not, you don't hear me out trashing people, certainly that I'm not running against. When you're running against someone, I expect to get hit. I hope they expect me to hit them.
Yeah, it's
but at the end of the day, we all work together, and I hope that's how I represent the area.
Obviously the electric school bus mandate, the electric mandate when it comes to large equipment like Mack trucks, just gives you a good example of where the party seems to have lost its way, at least certainly in New York.
Yes, and I've been in rooms, Keeler, where people have said, you voted for this legislation. I said, that is correct. What they didn't see was me behind the scenes representing places like we have in central New York that have these electric bus capital votes voted down. I'm being that voice in there, and I'm talking, and I helped to create legislation which created a task force, and then we can make fun of task forces, but it was to explore the feasibility of this timeline.
Yeah.
Because we can't just throw our hands up and go, we got to do it. This is what we're going to do. We're moving forward because the people don't want it. The school districts are frustrated because of the timeline. There's obviously tremendous cost there, and we are not in the spot we thought we were.
Right, infrastructure-wise.
Grid goes and affordability and manufacturing these buses from a few years ago. So you got to pivot. You got to admit it. You got to take the hit, and I have, and say, okay, we've got to make a change now.
Congressman, we appreciate it. Hope to do it again real soon.
Thank you so much. Great being on again.
Good luck.
All right, sir.
Congressman.
Bye-bye. I need it, yes.
Okay. Congressman, I'm going to need it. There's the quote. Congressman John Manion. All right, news coming up. We'll talk about this on the other side.
Millions of Americans take medicine like Ozempic and Zepbound. Many of them are overpaying by thousands of dollars a year. These GLP-1 medications for diabetes, weight loss, and more may not always be covered by your insurance, but GoodRx can help. GoodRx helps you save every month on prescriptions at over 70,000 pharmacies nationwide. Best of all, it's free to use. Check GoodRx to save on GLP-1s. Just go to GoodRx.com/GLP. That's GoodRx.com/GLP. GoodRx is not insurance, but can be used instead of insurance, including Medicare and other federal and state-funded programs.
Have you ordered a Tempur-Pedic mattress and waited 7 days or longer for delivery? Stop waiting and cancel it. Bring your receipt to Mattress Express. We'll deliver it quick. We'll meet or beat the price. Call 1-800-NEW-BEDS and order by phone or stop into your closest location.
From the Stanley Theater Studio, WIBX Utica, Rome, W295EI, WIBX 950 and 92.3 FM, a Town Square media station.
Freeing more prisoners from Guantanamo. I'm Dave Anthony, Fox News. The Biden administration has moved 11 detainees from Yemen to the country of Oman. 2 of them were bodyguards for al-Qaeda leader Osama bin Laden, captured after 9/11.
One of them, Ahmed al-Alwi, still had an extremist mindset as recently as 2016, according to declassified files. The other one, Anam al-Sharabi, may have been linked to a hijacking plot in Asia. But ultimately, these 11 guys spent more than 20 years in prison without ever being charged.
Fox's Peter Ducey. This leaves 15 prisoners still at Guantanamo, the fewest since the U.S.-run prison in Cuba was opened in 2002. And the Wall Street Journal reports another may be set free, with the U.S. considering a prisoner swap that would also free 3 Americans detained in Afghanistan. The U.S. has taken out more terrorists. We're just learning now about an American airstrike a week ago, killing 10 militants in the al-Shabaab terror group in Somalia. President Biden will be in California today to dedicate 2 national monuments that Fox's Jeff Manasso reports preserve a lot of federal land.
Expected to establish 644,000 acres near Joshua Tree National Park and roughly 200,000 acres in Northern California near the Oregon border as national monuments. That would also restrict mining and other development. This after the president's executive action to ban offshore oil and gas drilling in 625 million acres of federal waters, which critics call a parting shot at incoming President Donald Trump.
He vows to undo that offshore ban when he takes office again. Ahead of a new Trump administration, changes are coming at Facebook's parent company, Meta, ending a third-party fact-checking program amid conservative complaints of being censored. Meta Chief Global Affairs Officer Joel Kaplan just told Fox and Friends,
"This is a great opportunity for us to reset the balance in favor of free expression."
This affects Facebook, Instagram, and Threads. This is a first. An elderly man in Louisiana has died from the bird flu. The state health department says he was exposed to wild birds and had underlying health problems. America's listening to Fox News.
Progressive presents Employee of the Month. Small Business Edition. Today's recipient from Lucky Larry's Landscaping, Larry! Larry saved his business money with a quick commercial auto quote from Progressive. Does it help he's his own marketing manager, accountant, executive assistant, and never been late? Technically, yes, but saving really put him over the edge. So, Larry, give Larry a round of applause. Be your own Larry. See if you could save in as little as 7 minutes at ProgressiveCommercial.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates.
You said bye-bye to big government. Now it's time to trim the fat from Big Wireless. Pure Talk gives you the exact same service. They use the same cell towers, the same 5G network. You get better customer service, and you pay half the price for the exact same thing. Get unlimited talk, text, 15 gigs of data with mobile hotspot for just $35 a month. Make the switch. You simply dial pound 250, say the keyword, save now, save an additional 50% off your first month. Pure Talk, America's wireless company.
He's now formally President-elect Trump. Congress in a joint session with Vice President Harris presiding over her own defeat certified the Trump election win 4 years after Trump supporters stormed the Capitol trying to block the Biden election victory.
The House chaplain led a prayer with Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer and House Minority Leader Hakeem Jeffries at the spot where people began entering the Capitol on January 6, 2021, Schumer vowing to never forget.
There's lots of people who want us to forget, who want to sweep it under the rug, who want to change the story.
The House and Senate certified President-elect Trump's victory with no objections. In 2021, over 100 Republicans objected to the certification of President Biden's victory. On Capitol Hill, Ryan Schmelz, Fox News.
Well, there's an update on 2 federal Trump indictments. The cases were dropped, and now there are attempts to get a judge to block special counsel Jack Smith from releasing a report on the classified documents case. Trump lawyers also want Attorney General Merrick Garland to block Smith from releasing details, and also in the federal election interference indictment. Now an update on the Trump case in New York.
Judge Juan Merchan has said no to President-elect Trump's attempts to put off sentencing for his conviction on falsifying business records. That means the judge will hand down his decision this Friday. The Trump defense team has said appeals still underway have to play out before any sentencing can happen. The defense also cited the presidential transition. The Manhattan DA's office disputed that, saying the transition is not an official act, and said there is public interest in that sentencing. Judge Merchan has already indicated there will likely be no jail time when he makes his decision Friday. Gernal Scott, Fox News.
On Wall Street, stock futures are on the rise before the opening bell next hour. I'm Dave Anthony, and this is Fox News.
Good morning, WIBX 950 AM 92.3 FM News Time, 8:05. I'm Andrew Derminio. Right now we're at 15 degrees. Feels like zero under partly cloudy skies. Your full weather forecast is coming up. A Yorkville business was closed yesterday following a search of the premises. The scene featured a parking lot filled with both marked and unmarked police vehicles along Champlain Ave. The establishment is known as the Finesse Deli Mart Express. It housed, allegedly, NYC exotic snacks, which was the focus of the search. The Oneida County District Attorney reported the investigators uncovered violations of New York State cannabis law. The investigation was supported by the New York State Office of Cannabis Management, as well as the Yorkville and Utica Police Departments and the Oneida County Sheriff's Office. A resident of the city of Rome lost his life after being struck on the New York State Thruway. On January 4th, shortly before noon, state police responded to reports of a pedestrian being hit by a vehicle on I-90 in Canajoharie. According to officials, the investigation determined a westbound vehicle being driven by 61-year-old David Bonaparte of Rome stopped on the northern shoulder. Bonaparte exited his vehicle and was struck by another westbound vehicle. State police reported he suffered critical injuries and was pronounced dead at the scene. The investigation into the incident is still ongoing. The driver of the vehicle that struck him promptly stopped, alerted emergency services, and has been cooperative through the investigation. A man from Syracuse will be spending time behind bars following the fentanyl overdose death of a toddler. Yesterday, Curtis Rouse pleaded guilty to multiple crimes, including criminally negligent homicide after the tragic passing of 2-year-old Malaya Blue back in April of 2023. Rouse and his girlfriend were responsible for watching Blue, who was later found unresponsive at a home and pronounced dead at a nearby hospital. Rouse is facing a maximum sentence of 5 years behind bars. And the Washington State Attorney General has filed a lawsuit against T-Mobile over a data breach. The lawsuit claims 2 million Washington T-Mobile customers had their data compromised by the breach. The lawsuit asserts T-Mobile knew about the vulnerability for years but did not fix it. The suit also claims T-Mobile downplayed the severity of the breach and did not disclose to customers all of the information that had been compromised. WIBX 950 AM 92.3 FM News Time, 8:07. Your weather forecast is brought to you by the Stanley Center of the Arts.
Cold is here to stay, and snow showers over the next few days could bring accumulations to a couple of inches in some spots, with the more persistent bands coming in off of Lake Ontario. Certainly not what we've just come out of. Bundle up as we struggle to get to 20 today with a gusty wind. It will feel at or maybe below zero at times, especially this morning. Scattered snow showers or snow showers tonight, tomorrow, and it stays cold. I'm Ray Stajic at the Weather Channel, WIBX 950 AM and 92.3 FM.
Right now, we're at 15 degrees under partly cloudy skies at 8:08. In sports, the Giants are deciding to keep general manager Joe Schoen and head coach Brian Daboll. Team president John Mara released a statement Monday saying, quote, "As disappointing as the results of the season have been, Steve Tisch and I remain confident in the process that Joe and Brian have implemented and their vision for our team," end quote. New York finished the season last in the NFC East at 3-14 and hold the third overall pick in the 2025 NFL Draft. A lot of coaching, NFL front office carousel moves. Rex Ryan is ready to reset the culture in the Meadowlands. During a radio appearance on Monday, the former NFL head coach said if he returns to the Jets, he will be sure to put an end to the Aaron Rodgers country club, quote unquote. Ryan criticized the organization's leadership for allowing Rodgers to take a vacation to Egypt and skip mandatory minicamp last June. Criticizing the organization's leadership ahead of an interview for a job with the organization. During his 6 seasons with the Green and White, Ryan led the team to a 46-50 record and back-to-back AFC Championship game appearances in 2009 and 2010. The 62-year-old is scheduled to meet with the Jets front office today in Florida. In other NFL moves, the Bears continuing their search for a new head coach. ESPN reports Chicago has requested to interview Dallas Cowboys head coach Mike McCarthy for its vacant head coaching position. McCarthy's contract expires Wednesday, but Dallas holds exclusive negotiating rights with McCarthy through January 14th. The 61-year-old has guided the Cowboys to a combined 49-35 regular season record and is 1-3 in the playoffs since taking over in 2020. Patriots owner Robert Kraft blaming himself for the team's recent failures. Kraft said Monday he put former Pats head coach Gerard Mayo in an untenable situation by hiring him last offseason. The 83-year-old indicated he still believes Mayo is capable of being a head coach in the NFL, but needs a little bit more time. The Jaguars are moving on from their head coach, by the way, Detroit Lions offensive coordinator Ben Johnson and former Tennessee Titans head coach Mike Vrabel, 2 candidates possibly to take over in New England. And the Jaguars have fired Doug Peterson after 3 seasons. His total record there, 22-19, 4-13 this season. WIBX 950 AM. Oh, and Syracuse plays tonight if you care. Boy, they're off.
Well, Davey says they might win this one.
The JMA Wireless Dome. They'll be playing Georgia Tech Yellow Jackets.
And I believe a game is on the ACC network at 7.
Okay. We had the guy Cameron Decker who was on and was doing basically the To Catch a Predator type thing. And I think the DA's office, at the time Scott McNamara, the sheriff, and others all a bit concerned. And when you go into Herkimer County, I think the DA down there very concerned. And in fact, said you can't do this here. which I think has its own complications. But nonetheless, did you see what happened in Massachusetts? So all of a sudden, a bunch of college students decided they were going to do this. And they went on Tinder, and the female used her real account.
Oh, boy.
And some guy who responded to the ad came, and they started beating the crap out of the guy, calling him a pedophile and everything like that.
Wow.
Turns out he was 18. The woman, the female in the ad was 18 years old. So he committed no crime whatsoever.
Oh, my gosh.
Here is Professor David Herzog talking about the trend, and it's a bit of vigilantism, and it's causing a problem on college campuses.
It's a very dangerous trend. This is the big challenge with the internet as a whole, is the ability for anyone to anonymize themselves and assume any sort of role or responsibility.
It is very difficult when all of a sudden the general public just decides we're judge and jury and we're going to impose a penalty.
They're not getting all the correct information.
They don't know what they're talking about. Yeah. Okay. Tony Randall would have been quite the pedophile. He had a lot of young wives, a lot of kids, but they were all above the age of 18. I remember who Tony Randall was. You do, Davey? Big fan, right? Of The Odd Couple.
Yeah, Felix and Oscar.
Yeah, you love that show.
Do-do-do-do-do-do.
Yep, just like that. Steve Howe coming up. We'll talk about what happened in New Orleans, and are they going to be prepared for the Super Bowl? That is a big question for Buffalo fans. Obviously, we got to make it there. We'll see what happens. Steve Howe coming up at WIBX.
Millions of Americans take medicine like Ozempic and Zepbound. Many of them are overpaying by thousands of dollars a year. These GLP-1 medications for diabetes, weight loss, and more may not always be covered by your insurance, but GoodRx can help. GoodRx helps you save every month on prescriptions at over 70,000 pharmacies nationwide. Best of all, it's free to use. Check GoodRx to save on GLP-1s. Just go to GoodRx.com/GLP. That's GoodRx.com/GLP. GoodRx is not insurance, but can be used instead of insurance, including Medicare and other federal and state-funded programs.
Hers weight loss is not available everywhere. Compounded products are not FDA approved or verified for safety, effectiveness, or quality. Prescription required. Restrictions apply. Wegovy and Ozempic are not compounded.
Everyone's talking about the breakthrough of weight loss drugs, but too few can access or afford them. Hers is changing that. At forhers.com/radio, you can access doctor-trusted weight loss treatments tailored to you, like GLP-1 weekly injections with the same active ingredient as Ozempic and Wegovy, or oral medications at a fraction of the price. That's right. You'll save up to 91% per month on compounded semaglutide based on pricing through Hers. The same active ingredient as the name brand drug at 91% less. There's no hidden fees and no membership fees. Just one low, transparent price. And the process is 100% online. If prescribed, your personalized plan ships free directly to your door. Get started at forhers.com/radio to access affordable doctor-trusted weight loss plans that put you first. That's forhers.com/radio. FORHERS.com/radio.
Are you paying too much for term life insurance? A man age 50 non-tobacco user can obtain $500,000 of coverage for as little as $110 per month. Level rate for 20 years. That's right, guaranteed level rate for 20 years. If you're a smoker, there are great rates available for you as well. Call Term Busters for a quote. 1-800-908-7636. You're probably paying more than you should. Call 1-800-908-7636. Remember, call Term Busters. 1-800-908-7636. Sample rate for preferred non-tobacco rate class. Exam required to qualify.
The new year means new health goals, not just for your body, but your finances too. Your personal info is in so many places that are outside of your control. It only takes one mistake, and not even your mistake, to expose you to identity theft and lost funds. If your identity's stolen, LifeLock's restoration specialist will fix it, guaranteed, or your subscription money back, and resolve to make identity, health, and wealth part of your New Year's goals with LifeLock. Visit LifeLock.com and save up to 40% off your first year with promo code CLAY. Terms apply.
Hi, this is Ray Durso of the Genesis Group. If you're interested in keeping up with events and news in the Mohawk Valley region, I have the show for you. It's called This Week in the Mohawk Valley, and it airs every Sunday on WIBX. Join us as we talk with area business leaders, elected officials, law enforcement, educators, and more. Don't miss This Week in the Mohawk Valley every Sunday at 8:30 on WIBX 950 AM and 92.3 FM.
WIBX. This is Keeler. WIBX 950 and 92.3 FM. Now back to the Keeler Show.
You know, I was noticing a very interesting phenomenon that exists in the world today.
Yeah,
And
what
that
is it? What is it?
I will be sitting there and a commercial will come on. There's some pretty good commercials that are on right now.
On television?
Like the one, for instance, where is it Liberty?
Yes. Liberty.
Where the guy is...
He's got the wax statue of himself?
Yes.
Yeah,
and
that's good.
I do kind of like that commercial. I think it's pretty good.
There's two versions.
Well, one, he gets the frisbee in the head.
Yeah.
And the other one where you see the thing start to melt.
He's like, ah!
And I'm sitting there and we're watching that the other night. And my wife begins to laugh out loud over the commercial.
Yeah.
And I said, that commercial is still making you laugh? I'm getting kind of sick of it, to be honest. And she said, it's the first time I've seen it.
Oh, really?
Because that commercial tends to run in sports.
Interesting.
And it doesn't run in, I'm not sure how many commercials she's watching on TV these days. Anyway, do they even run commercials in Housewives of whatever city?
Not if she's watching on a streaming service.
And then I don't know what I was watching the other day, but apparently I'm watching something that, because you can tell, right? You can tell who the majority of people, what demographic the majority of people watching a particular program is, because they've done the research. So if you're sitting there and all of a sudden that budget cellular comes up,
yeah, right,
and it's like,
consumer cellular,
and they'll make big. The numbers are big, so you can see them when you.
Oh yeah,
right. So you clearly know you're watching,
or the phone that is the
an
dictator.
elderly program.
I played baseball today, Grandma.
Yeah, that's right. Or
what position? First base. That's what Grandpa used to play.
My latest favorite piece of garbage that is being advertised is called eye candy. Have you seen that?
No.
And I think I might have been watching like a World War II thing or something.
Oh, God.
And all of a sudden it's like, it's the new invention, eye candy. And it is the size of an iPad, but it's a plastic magnifying glass. You can take it to the store. Can you imagine pulling this thing that's about, it's probably about the size of a large book, like 8 by 10, pulling this thing out, trying to see how much they charge for broccoli. You get it close enough, you'll be like, I think there's a bug in the broccoli. I can see it in there. I can see it. I can see it there. I mean, and by the way,
this price is inflated.
Unfortunately, if you buy one now, you can get two because this product might be discontinued.
Yeah.
Why? Because it's stupid.
Because nobody's buying it. We've got excess inventory.
It is just the dumbest thing I've ever seen. But it's very interesting where you might be, depending on what you watch, you might be seeing a commercial over and over and over again. And your wife or your significant other, whatever, has never seen it before because you watch sports, they don't watch sports. They watch, whatever my wife watches. Home improvement programs and all of that. Eye candy, ultra bright, just $14.99. And you'll be able to see how much broccoli costs too.
Or 3 easy payments of $5.99.
That's exactly it. On the line right now is Steve Hauk. Steve, good morning. I'm sure you see these as well, and it's very interesting that, some of these commercials are pretty good, and your significant other might not even see them.
Well, I can tell you, I mean, just based on the commercials, it's clear the country's in decline because, now the insurance commercials are the best. When I was growing up, the beer commercials were the best.
I know. Yeah. I know. Well,
the problem... My favorite one is the one where the guy stands up and says, "We can't stop you from acting like your parents."
I like that one.
Yes. And he goes, "That's a good one. That's my favorite."
Although I got to tell you, I've loved those commercials.
You think they're getting a little over?
I have felt he's running out of material.
Yeah.
Like, take that shirt off right now. I mean, for God's sake,
bad shirt.
Shirt's not that bad.
Stop picking on the guy.
Really? Take that shirt off. I mean, it's getting a little getting a little much. But I think it's nearing the end. But you're right. It's one of my favorite.
Like the peak of that was when they're at the stadium and they're like, okay, we're really not talking about leaving the game before it started. Like the strategic parking lot spot.
You got the one guy in the back trying to help somebody back into a parking spot. Hold on.
Nobody needs your help.
My name is Bill. What's yours? Those are all really good commercials. But again, those tend to land in sports.
But to Steve's point,
if you don't want sports, you're not watching.
But to Steve's point, the commercials used to be all the beer commercials. Now it's like, ask your doctor about this liver medication.
Oh, my God, I know.
Support your
liver.
liver.
It shows you the demographic of the country and who's watching TV right now.
Yeah.
But really, it depends on the show you're watching. We are targeting so much when it comes to the type of show you're watching.
Yeah.
You can now go to a certain program if you're looking for a certain commercial.
Correct.
What's the name of the discount cellular service?
Consumer Cellular.
Consumer Cellular. Yeah. If you can't remember and you don't want to look it up, what number to call for Consumer Cellular, which, by the way, is owned by AT&T.
Yeah.
All you got to do is look on the guide and pull up Little House on the Prairie. And I guarantee you.
All I know is William Devane told me I should buy gold. So when we get off the phone,
that's right.
It's bad when they're advertising things that are free with Medicaid.
Oh my Lord,
boy.
Well, listen, it's a crazy world we live in right now, and the problem you have is January. Your traditional advertisers aren't spending the kind of money they normally spend, so now all of these crazy commercials end up because the TV stations will take anything. Trust me, radio will too. Trust me. Okay. What happened on New Year's? It's really interesting because we were all going through New Year's Eve and everybody was focused on Times Square especially.
Yeah.
And at some point everybody thought, well, we've made it through and we're having a safe New Year's Eve. And then the news started
we're overly prepared in New York City.
And then the news started to trickle out about New Orleans. What are your thoughts?
Well, there's a bunch of things. One of the things that I always felt about New Orleans that always shocked me is on any given night, not a special night, a Friday, Saturday night in New Orleans, they've always allowed vehicle cross traffic across Bourbon Street.
Mm-hmm.
And it always struck me odd that even if you had someone that just, let's be honest, down there's a lot of drinking going on. So even just somebody got in their car and had too many could easily injure people. Not intentionally. So it always struck me odd that they allowed that to occur. But it clearly their preparation was not up to snuff. The police chief, I actually know the police chief pretty well. And, she's been doing this a long time and, she's a really good person. She's very professional, but clearly they, when they had their press conference, it showed a lot of gaps, in what individual people knew. And, there was those barricades that they have for the sidewalks. And she openly admitted a few days later that she didn't know they even had them. And they weren't in place, which would have probably stopped the driver from being able to go down the sidewalk. But, all the mechanisms they had in place clearly failed. So, they're going to have to do an after action report and look at the things they had in place and was this failure to plan or did their plan fail? So those are the two things they're going to have to look at.
It's interesting when you look at New York City for Times Square and for New Year's Eve, I don't know how many people, thousands and thousands of people cram into Times Square really all day long. And New York has done a really good job of creating those barricades that really exist all the time in New York City. But for an event like this, they bring out these big trucks that are filled with crushed stone, and it would take. You will not have a vehicle that'll crash through those barricades, where they didn't have anything nearly like that in New Orleans.
They didn't, and that actual particular area of New Orleans is relatively small compared to Times Square, which has so many avenues to get on the road. So you would think it would be much easier to control. And, they had a police car there blocking it with a static patrol. But if you look at it, there's the video of him when he goes around the police car and goes down the sidewalk. Clearly, a motorcycle could have easily accessed that. So they didn't. That was really just to prevent people from accidentally turning down the road. It really wasn't to protect anybody from hell bent on making an attack. So
well, now you're
looking kind of protection.
Now you're looking at Mardi Gras coming and the Super Bowl. So and now we've learned that these barricades that they have spent so much money on really are not going to work for a situation if somebody really wants to come plowing through above 10 miles an hour.
Right. And you see those bollards, they're all over D.C. They're the ones that they have in New Orleans are temporary. They can be put into place and taken out. The ones in D.C., they're actually into the ground and they come up.
They're in New York City too. Yep.
Yeah.
They're almost like hooks. They're like claws that come up. You'll see them. We were walking on the street, and I believe there was one in front of the main post office in Manhattan, where if you would have run into that, you're going to cause some major damage to your car. You're not going anywhere.
Right.
They have a lot of mobile ones, even for the Boilermaker. I've seen,
yeah,
like little.
But these are right in the ground. They're steel.
They're like a yeah.
And part of the problem you have here is that whenever you have these mass gatherings, people that are intent on body count, they're looking for soft targets. And we saw based on the meta video that they showed out that he was scoping this out. This wasn't a spur of the moment thing. He thought this through. I think right down to the vehicle he used.
Right.
It was thought through. So. Obviously, horrific results, but if anything, they're going to have to do a hard look at themselves as an agency and their preparation, and they're going to have to say, clearly they made mistakes. So they've got to look at those, and they've got to fix them, and they got to fix them fast.
One of the areas where you're really, and for those that don't know, Steve Houck, formerly with UPD, but now consults police agencies around the state, around the country. One of the areas is communication, and I think they seem to really struggle on this in New Orleans.
So I was watching the press conferences that happened live, and when we set these press conferences up, I don't like to have more than 2, maybe 3, at the most 4 speakers up at the podium. I think it dilutes the message and it confuses people. They look like they were having a family reunion photo taken.
I know. Yeah.
There was like 40 people behind the podium, and I was shaking my head. I don't know what the thought process was.
That's all
there.
political. That is all because what they want to do is get everybody who wants to get a video of themselves up during that moment so they can use it for an upcoming election or what have you. It's so political and really not effective at all for what you're trying to accomplish.
No, and there's times we all understand politics play a role in it, but there's times when you have to be apolitical.
Yeah,
that was the time they needed to do it, and they chose not to, and it's really unfortunate because if you looked at what they did for the other incident that they had the sheriff, a couple other people, and that's it. That's how you run those press conferences. It was incredibly confusing as the viewer, and you're watching and people in the background looking at each other and talking. It was very distracting, and I can't imagine what it was like to try to stand up there and give out clear messaging when it was needed most.
So one of the things you say you know rather well the police chief in New Orleans, and you don't know what her situation is. If the mayor is saying or the governor is saying this is what we're doing. It's really difficult, almost impossible for the police chief to say, no, we're not doing this. Same thing when it comes to the barriers that the city invested in. A lot of times they'll use the input from police, but at the end of the day, it's the whatever common council or whatever legislature they have that makes the decision. And oftentimes it's not the right security decision.
That's right. And, we have to, and I've had this discussion many times with different people it's law enforcement seems to be one of the only few professions where people that have no experience in it and no knowledge of it think they can give advice to people that know what they're doing. It's one of the few professions you have that. When you go to the restaurant, you don't walk into the kitchen and tell the chef how to cook your steak. So
I have a couple times.
No, you might, yeah. But so
I'd never do that.
It's frustrating sometimes because you have people that think they know how to be safe. And listen, budgets and all that stuff obviously have to come into play.
Sure.
And there's a time and place, and the people that the politicians have to control the budgets. That's their job. So, but law enforcement, once those all those avenues are checked, all those boxes are checked, and the resources are in place, then you have to let the people that know what they're doing do their jobs. And when you step in the middle of it, you can have catastrophic results.
Yeah.
One of the interesting aspects of this case and the Vegas Cybertruck explosion, not that we have any evidence that they're linked yet, was the use of a new app called Turo, which is basically like Airbnb, but for vehicles now. It's interesting. These criminals and wrongdoers find all the new ways to use these different services and apps to do their deeds.
A lot of these services are awesome, but it can be used
convenient,
in a very bad
to be
way.
nefarious.
Yeah. Technology, Steve. It's a blessing, and it's the opposite.
Yeah, absolutely. And what struck me as odd that they use, you would think someone might want to use that app to stay off the radar of, say, one of the larger rental companies. But clearly in both these places, neither of them plan to survive.
Yeah.
So I think maybe just a coincidence that, and it does seem like the one in Vegas was more of an elaborate suicide than anything else, based off the notes and every other thing. I think he actually went out of his way to not hurt people, based on his choice of vehicle he used and some other things he did, because he clearly knew explosives and knew how to have the maximum effect and chose not to do it that way. So I don't think this was a case of he was trying to kill people.
End of the day, though, it's really disturbing to find that in both cases, both veterans, both served their country, and both at some point mentally cracked, and it really makes you think. And the other part of this takeaway is something we've always known. In a free society, no matter how much we try to protect everyone and everything, we are never 100% safe. It just is impossible.
No, you can't. It's not possible. And obviously we see this in different parts of the world. Europe's been dealing with it for forever, but you're right. Whenever you allow people to freely move around the country, you're going to have people that could take advantage.
Yeah. Okay, Steve, as always, we appreciate your insight. Thank you.
Pleasure.
All right, Steve Houck. And we're going to come up with county executive in just a second. A lot of stuff to talk about. Andrew updates the news. First, though, on WIBX.
Good morning, WIBX 950 AM 92.3 FM News Time 8:34. I'm Andrew Derminio. Your update brought to you by the Stanley Center of the Arts. A Yorkville business closed yesterday after a search of the premises. The establishment is the Finesse Deli Mart Express. However, it allegedly housed NYC Exotic Snacks, which was the focus of the search. The Oneida County District Attorney reported the investigators uncovered violations of New York state cannabis law. A Rome man lost his life after being struck on the New York State Thruway. Police say the investigation determined a westbound vehicle being driven by 61-year-old David Bonaparte of Rome stopped on the north shoulder. Bonaparte exited the vehicle and was struck by another westbound vehicle. State police reported he suffered critical injuries and was pronounced dead at the scene. The driver of the other vehicle is fully cooperating with law enforcement, and the investigation is ongoing. A Syracuse man will spend time behind bars following the fentanyl overdose death of a toddler, Malaya Blue. She passed away back in April of 2023. Curtis Rouse pleaded guilty to multiple crimes, including criminally negligent homicide, after he and his girlfriend were responsible for watching Blue, who was later found unresponsive at a home and pronounced dead at a nearby hospital. Rouse is facing a maximum sentence of 5 years behind bars. This week, sharpshooters will be spreading out across the Syracuse region to start the annual process of culling deer. Any shooting will be done at night, and bait sites for deer are going to be at least 500 feet away from any occupied building. Since the program started, hundreds of deer have been removed from the city's neighborhoods. And the Syracuse men's basketball team will be back on their home court tonight as the squad tries to snap a 2-game losing streak. The Orange are hosting their ACC rival Georgia Tech Yellow Jackets at the JMA Wireless Dome. SU last played Saturday when they were beaten by Florida State 90-74, dropping their record this season to 6 wins and 8 losses. Tip-off this evening is scheduled for 7 p.m. WIBX 950 AM, 92.3 FM, news time 8:36. Here's your forecast.
Cold is here to stay, and snow showers over the next few days could bring accumulations to a couple of inches in some spots, with the more persistent bands coming in off of Lake Ontario. Certainly not what we've just come out of. Bundle up as we struggle to get to 20 today with a gusty wind. It will feel at or maybe below zero at times, especially this morning. Scattered snow showers or snow showers tonight, tomorrow, and it stays cold. I'm Ray Stajic at the Weather Channel, WIBX 950 AM and 92.3 FM.
Moving up a little bit, 16 degrees under partly cloudy skies. Feels like zero still. It's 8:36.
Boom. I just ordered my eye candy. I got it. I got it. It's coming. And I got a deal, $6.99 for this thing.
Wow.
It's a really good deal.
One easy payment. One.
And you just, you're walking in the grocery store, and you're gonna have to carry a bag probably to be able to. This thing is an 8
Do
by
they give
10.
you the eye candy carrying case for free?
It comes with the carrying case.
Good,
yes,
good.
and you just whip it out, and you're able to
I
look.
can see clearly now.
You can see
the
everything.
price tag.
It's really exciting. I think we're going to. Yeah, I might actually get the head. There's actually a headband that'll come down and put it right over your
so you can
over your
see
face.
clearly everywhere.
So you're moving around, you're seeing everything. Everything is close up. County executive coming up next. He'll be right in our faces when we get this. The county executive is next on WIBX.
It's time to stop letting road conditions dictate your journey. Nokian Tires all-weather tires are versatile enough for summer heat, spring rain, and winter snow, allowing you to forget the forecast so you can focus on the road ahead, not the road below. Forget the forecast with a year-round tire approved for winter use. Find Nokian Tires all-weather tires at Tallman's Tire and Auto Repair, with locations in Utica, Yorkville, Rome, and Herkimer. Learn more at tallmanstire.com.
Mattress Express's New Year's blowout is on. Save up to $800 on Tempur-Pedic, Sealy, Stearns & Foster, and Purple. Take up to 5 years to pay with no money down for qualified buyers and no credit check payment plans available. Call 1-800-NEW-BEDS or just stop in.
Millions of Americans take medicine like Ozempic and Zepbound. Many of them are overpaying by thousands of dollars a year. These GLP-1 medications for diabetes, weight loss, and more may not always be covered by your insurance, but GoodRx can help. GoodRx helps you save every month on prescriptions at over 70,000 pharmacies nationwide. Best of all, it's free to use. Check GoodRx to save on GLP-1s. Just go to GoodRx.com/GLP. That's GoodRx.com/GLP. GoodRx is not insurance, but can be used instead of insurance, including Medicare and other federal and state-funded programs.
This is actual footage of Bill Keeler doing a radio show on WIBX. Sadly, his career was found in a heavily wooded area. If you know the person or persons who ended the radio career of Bill Keeler, please tell them thanks on behalf of the people of Central New York.
WIBX. This is Keeler. WIBX 950 and 92.3 FM. Now back to the Keeler Show.
Hey, portions of the program brought to you by the Falcon Clinic in Washington Mills. Dealing with some issues, and boy, there's a lot going on right now, and you're looking for a new family doctor or really someone who can assist you with whatever ails you. They're accepting new patients right now at the Falcon Clinic. Dr. Shemaleski, Dr. Zielinski, taking new patients now. I will be there, I think I'm there Thursday. Dr. Zielinski and Dr. Shemaleski do it's an osteopathic manipulation, almost like going to the chiropractor. Except it's about 45 minutes.
It's an advanced adjustment.
It really is. And they'll do everything from you feel like your sinuses are cleared up when you leave.
Yeah.
It's really incredible. Call them today. 315-507-4751, the Falcon Clinic in Washington Mills. In studio right now is the County Executive, Anthony Piseni. Good morning.
Good morning. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year. How long do you say that?
How long can we? I was going to say.
Yeah.
I think I can still say that.
Yeah, probably till the end of January, right?
What's interesting about it this year is it just dawned on me that next week we'll already be halfway through January.
Right.
Because it was a later, it had those extra days. And before you know it, you're going to
It's
have
already
to start,
January 7th. You're going to have to start saying Merry
Happy
Christmas.
Valentine's Day.
Oh, Valentine's Day.
There you go.
Yeah. I guess probably through the month you can say it. Yeah. Okay. Is it going to be a Happy New Year? You tell me.
I hope it is. I certainly.
Yeah. Optimistic?
Optimistic, absolutely.
Starting off, we had somebody call the other day and say that in the rumor mill in Rome is that there is a new distribution center or warehouse center going in. Do you know anything about that?
No, I mean there's a bunch of rumors I know in Rome, and it centers around I probably around the Griffiths Triangle project.
Yep. That
we have received a great deal of funding for. We have been working with actually a couple companies, but as far as distribution, I'm not gonna get into details of who we're talking to, but we have we have a few distribution centers in the area, so you got to be careful
about to oversaturate
that because of the workforce and everything else.
Mm-hmm.
We have Family Dollar right up at Griffiths. You have Walmart that's just not far away. Orgill is on Griffiths as well.
And really,
then you have Tractor Supply.
Yeah.
So you've got those four real major ones. You used to have Rite Aid years ago. If you remember that. We're looking at a few different options.
Yeah, Rite Aid, which is just hanging on,
right,
it seems.
Right. I mean, that was a huge distribution, the first really, I think, in terms of that kind of size.
We were at what is it, Davey? The Eastview Mall. And technically it's not in Rochester, it's outside Rochester. And it's funny how that mall, booming. Huge crowds over the weekend. Mall in Buffalo looks like it's ready to. I mean, the stores that are closing down and the restaurants that are out of there. We see the same thing here.
Yeah.
Syracuse seems to be in worse shape. I don't know. Maybe Pyramid is the common denominator here, but Crossgates and Albany doing very well.
Right.
So, what makes a mall? I mean, we're in a real reinvention period. When it comes to commerce in communities, right?
Well, remember also that you have Consumer Square and you have the Orchard that has a variety of different stores,
which tend to be very busy,
and then you have some other stores that are scattered around in different areas. So that kind of makes it a little bit different unless you're a completely rural area where the main point is the mall. And look, Syracuse has changed. I mean, because the downtown has come alive a little bit more with some other pieces and some of the other outlying areas as well. But malls are changing and have been.
It does seem to be almost an affluent. So Rochester, more affluent. Albany, more affluent. Those two have big malls that are really operating well.
But think about how much easier it is to get to a mall in those areas.
Right, as opposed to going to a downtown.
As opposed to going in other areas like we have. I mean, for us, a trip to New Hartford or other places is easy.
Yeah. Do you feel that maybe too that there was a lot of negative stories or incidents of crime or violence or inappropriate behavior having
really
the
wasn't
impact
the
on
situation.
It really wasn't as much. It wasn't here. I mean, there were a couple minor incidents in
Yeah.
Sangertown. I mean, obviously that's something. Malls are becoming a little more. I mean, if you look at the models, I mean, more on the big box size because of the Boscovs and you had Macy's, which is gone, but you had
I will say
Boscov's, Target.
This holiday season, the mall was packed. It just was packed for
Boscov's and
Target,
and what's the other? The Dick's Sporting Goods.
Dick's Sporting Goods, another big one. Yeah.
So that's kind of where they've been headed, at least in areas like ours, and they've been transitioning into other pieces too. So I mean, it's really depends on. Everything is of course crazy to say it's all market driven, but it's also about access,
right?
And when there are other accessible places, people can jump in and get to whether it's a Best Buy or whether it's a Barnes and Noble
or you don't have to go to a
Kohl's
Best Buy
or whatever. I mean you could jump there's different places to go to,
or you're the online. Obviously, what COVID certainly COVID is the one thing that really took us to that next level when it comes to online buying. I mean,
online buying, but also, I mean, the other thing it took us to is online buying and then just going to the store, driving up, they put it in your car, and you drive away.
Curbside
and then
pickup.
curbside. I mean, changed. That even changed the dynamics even more so.
Yeah, I think you're right. And so now when you're shopping in the grocery store, you can always tell you're usually almost always you'll run into 2 or 3 people shopping for somebody else, and they're whatever store employees. Exactly. All right, what do you see for the upcoming year? Really hard. I do have to say, we had an amazing year last year when it comes to the events happening in the area, whether it be lacrosse or women's hockey. There were big things that happened here. How do you repeat that?
Well, I mean, that is a challenge, but I think the repeat is really just that those events took place, and people were able to see what we could accomplish. Nexus being the center point of really both of those in one way or another with the Adirondack Bank Center, but the number of tournaments that we're booking, continues to just it's nonstop. And, we continue to look at other areas and other ways of attracting, and different events. And remember, those things were sandwiched on the other side of a tornado that kind of, stopped us in our tracks on some other things that we were looking at doing. Yeah. So we've still got, but all in all, we had, an interesting year. I mean, the Boilermaker took off without a hitch last year, really started coming back after, again,
looks like this year the plan
going back to COVID again. I mean, it really, the numbers got back up there. The Heart Run and Walk and some of those other events. And, there are many other, things that took place. But the garage was finished.
I guess I'll take that and talk about this latest diversion.
Sure.
Has everybody talking, and the problem is whenever there's an issue, we're automatically going to it's because of the new hospital.
And that's it's completely unfair.
Everybody's saying that's not true, and this has everything to do with this influx, whether it be the flu or in some cases COVID, but their neurovirus.
Look, there is a I don't know what the term is, but there is a rush of or a magnitude of flus and COVID again.
Yeah,
I mean, not to the extent that it was certainly 4 years ago, but it's there again. It's popping up. They're not as severe, but obviously the first reaction is go to the emergency room, and that's the case on a lot of these issues.
Yeah.
Whether it's a flu or whether it's a COVID or whether it's anything else. Coupled with the bad weather that we've been having and the fact that people are getting sick and out there and getting hurt and getting, chest pains or other things, shoveling snow and doing all these other things. So what you're seeing on the, and I think, what you're seeing, especially when you see, so what's the answer? Why did Oneida go on diversion? Rome almost went on diversion.
Right.
So, all of these things are, these are not unique, and everybody wants to point to, and I know I'll get calls later today. Everybody wants to point to this hospital and say, that's the problem because you got one hospital. Well, if you had two, there would be, there's no difference.
Yeah, what we've heard is that both St. E's and St. Luke's all had these issues during these peak times.
St. E's was notorious at times, I know, for going on diversion. It just didn't get the attention that it does because it's Wynn and because it's one. It's funny, everybody wanted one hospital, they just didn't want it downtown.
Right.
Now they don't want the one, now they want to go back to two. It's just but go to Rochester, go to Buffalo, go to Syracuse. Go see what those if a hospital like Oneida has to go on diversion.
Right. Think about that. Yep.
What does that tell you?
Lucia has a question for the county executive. Lucy, you're on with Tony Paceni. Hold on, he's plugging in headphones here. Good morning, Lucia. Good morning.
Good morning. Happy New Year to both of you and all your families.
Happy New Year.
I wanted to ask you, the Oneida County executive is doing a phenomenal job always, and it was nice to listen to him. I appreciate that. Is it true that they're going to have another hospital in this area?
No, that's not,
you don't want to go.
I don't want to go through that again.
Are you?
I don't. I have not heard that.
Are you hearing there's another hospital coming?
No, people come to our business and ask, and I said, I don't think so. No. And they knock the hospital, but I say, you know what? You have to travel far. You can even imagine what it's like.
Yeah.
Remember that was the first hospital built. in 25
Yeah.
years.
Right. That was a big deal. Yeah.
But
So
always,
you would say
you hear
no.
negative thing. It's negative,
Yeah.
negative, and I say positive. It's garbage,
Yeah.
Because also you got to enforce the positive about things, the good things that are happening all over here,
So
And,
I've got Joe Biden on the line. He'd like to see if we could say some good things about him. Anything? You have anything?
Yeah. He's phenomenal. He's on his way out. Thank you, Jesus. A few more days. I wish it was today. What a he destroyed everything. He destroyed America. Is he not there?
Yes.
It's
Well,
insanity what he's doing. Look what he's doing to Trump now. For us, he's doing it to you, not to.
listen,
not to Trump.
I didn't mean to press that button, but
you did.
I
Oh,
did.
you did.
I did. All right, Lucia.
You did?
You have a wonderful day. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Thank you. And Happy
Okay.
New Year again. Bye.
Happy New Year.
Bye.
Bye. It is. Did I hit that right, or what am I doing? There you go. It would be a lot to ask this community to go through this all over again.
God. Yeah,
right.
There's nothing.
Here is Jake for the county executive. Back to the headphones. Jake, you're on with Tony Pacenti.
Hey, just a quick comment. I called a couple weeks ago now. I think it was a couple weeks before Christmas when the elevator at the Genesee Towers stopped working.
Yes.
Still not working.
They're still not working. All right. Do you know anything about this?
No, I did not. I knew there was some issue with the Genesee Towers. It's a private, it's a private, again, another private
What are the
entity.
rules?
But,
what are the rules?
But at the end of the day, it's
yeah.
it's a codes issue and it's a violation. If that,
city, that'd be city.
It'd be city codes, I believe. Yeah, or city is the only one that has codes.
Yeah,
we
okay.
don't. But I'd be glad to look into that when I get back in. I'll have our people go and find out what the problem is.
Yep.
Thank you very much, guys. Thank you.
Okay, sorry about that, Jake. I will follow up on this later in the week. All right.
Thanks, Bill.
Thank you, Jake.
All right, Jake. I know that we've talked. I think we've talked to you about this before. This is from our good buddy Lanston Lee. A question for Mr. Pacenti: why hasn't his name been given any consideration at all to replace Elise Stefanik? It seems a little odd since Northern Oneida County has the most voters in that district.
Well, I appreciate his. Is that an endorsement from him?
Well, he's saying
Lance.
the county. He's claiming the county Republican chair says that wouldn't work, or Griffo.
Well, the county Republican chair and I don't necessarily see eye to eye, so that's probably why he hasn't mentioned my name. So I'm really not sure why, but I have been. I did talk to people. Look, I've talked about the congressional run once before. I'm very happy where I am. I like the job I'm doing. I have no interest in it. And that's a pretty intense district for anybody that wants to take it, to go all the way to the Canadian border out to Saratoga. I mean, it's huge, but at the same time, I'm at a good spot where I am.
We did bring this up. We brought this up when this first occurred, and at that time you said you had no interest.
And look, I like to see someone. Obviously, we've always had at least a piece of that in which, now it's a little bit different, that district, because we used to have a small piece of it when Elise first became congressperson back in 2000, was it 10 or 15 or 12 or somewhere around there, and then redistricting changed it, took it out, and now it's back. So, I really haven't heard a solid name yet for that seat, which is interesting on either side. And she hasn't, as far as I know, I don't know if she resigned. I don't know if John Manion, I know he was on this one.
That has not happened
Congressman
yet.
was on. I don't think she has resigned yet.
No, I don't think she has.
Because I think that is, the Republicans have, I think there are 3 seats of which members are going into the Trump administration, and they only have like a 3-seat pushing right now.
Yeah, right.
So they are really taking their time in determining who's going to run for these seats.
Joe Rakowski is a name that's being thrown around. Joe with
Joe
Montgomery
very
Materials.
well. Yep. Joe's a good guy.
I know he's been active.
He has.
In pursuing. This is very different, and it's very unique in the way this is being done, because it's really the Republican chairs that will make the nomination.
Well, it is
for the party.
But let's be real honest here. This is going to be I believe an Elise Stefanik and a Donald Trump choice. I think, and a national, because I go back to the margin that they have.
This is a critical.
They need to be 150% sure. I mean, they're gonna run. And that's why they're running. I'm sure they're running polls and numbers and
So you put somebody in, you put someone in, you lose the seat.
Right. That's a problem.
That would be a problem.
Everybody talks about, well, it's a Republican district. Without question, it is. It was built that way, and the northern part has always been in that realm. But look, anything can happen in a short time period.
Robert Smullen is another name. The Assemblyman that's been tossed around. He has great credentials. Mm-hmm. But I got to tell you, I've also heard Brandon Williams' name being tossed around.
Brandon Williams, Mark Molinaro.
And Molinaro
was put in there as well. And Mark, just lost that other seat, but, he has name recognition. He was in Congress. So, it doesn't, the trend, it used to be you really absolutely, even though it's not in the law,
you had
had to live in the district. Yeah. That doesn't apply anymore. I mean, that hasn't in many cases.
Yeah.
So it's all different.
Kathy with a final question here of the county executive. Kathy in Rome, you're on with the county executive Picente.
Good morning. I have to say that I live up near Bell Road and whatever, and I talk to a lot of my neighbors, and my neighbors have said they have heard that there was going to be a roundabout going in near Mohawk Glen in 825, and there was going to be some hearings coming up. You must know something about that.
I certainly do. There are plans for a roundabout at that intersection because of the development that we're looking at, at the Triangle area, but also, and we do have a public hearing set for January 20th. I'm lost at where we're at, but I will have that on. We have
does that involve
a Rome City Hall?
The clearing out of property about land on the east side of the base?
Well, it's also about that's more about the use of the the permitting that we're looking for the Triangle area and for the golf course eventually over there that we purchased. But it will involve some of that. Go ahead.
My quick question is: you're not going to open up Bell Road. You open up Bell Road, you're going to put a ton of traffic down.
That's not the plan.
All right. Okay. All right, Kathy.
All right.
Glad you got in there. Thank you.
Thanks a lot.
All right.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
We'll get you back and do more. I appreciate it. I know we didn't talk about the snow, but you guys have been very active, and some areas have been hit very, very hard.
They have. So. And I know everybody's wondering about the state of emergency. I mean, that gets put in because we want to make sure we have resources for everybody available. I didn't want to just take certain towns. Everybody asks but in these cases, you look at the whole situation, and Oneida County really got pounded.
Yeah, did get pounded in some areas. We're talking about 5+ feet of snow. It's really incredible.
Exactly.
So, as always, we appreciate it, and we'll do it again real soon. Thank you, County Executive Anthony Picente. All right, Kilmeade comes next after news, and we're back tomorrow. Enjoy your Tuesday.
You don't need to go to extremes this winter finding all those blankets. Call Tri-County Heating for all your furnace repairs. Need a new furnace? Quotes are free. Tri-County Heating, your Rude Pro Partner dealer, will make you warm and comfy this winter. Check out their website at tri-countyheating.com or call them at 315-829-4100. Stay comfortable in your home and call Tri-County Heating today.
Why pay more for prescriptions? Stop overpaying and start saving with SingleCare. It's easy. Find your prescription on singlecare.com, show the coupon at the pharmacy, and start saving. SingleCare works at pharmacies nationwide and is completely free to use, whether you have insurance or not. So the next time you fill a prescription, check SingleCare to make sure you're getting the best price. Take control of your prescription costs. Go to singlecare.com or download the free app today.
From the Stanley Theater Studio, WIBX Utica, Rome, W295EI, WIBX 950 and 92.3 FM, a Town Square media station.
Secretly set free. I'm Dave Anthony, Fox News. 2 ex-Osama bin Laden bodyguards and 9 other terror suspects captured after 9/11 but never charged are no longer at Guantanamo.
The Biden White House likes to make some prisoner transfers big public events with cameras broadcasting for the world to see. Not this one. 11 detainees from Gitmo were released to Oman so quietly they were already there before we found out. And we don't know what the U.S. gave Oman to take these 20-year Gitmo prisoners off of the United States' hands.
Fox's Peter Ducey.
There are 15 prisoners left in Gitmo now that could soon get down to 14.
That is because the U.S. is in talks now with the Taliban to swap a Guantanamo prisoner for 3 Americans detained in Afghanistan. President Biden will be in California today to dedicate two national monuments, preserving more than 800,000 acres of federal land from mining and development. The day after Biden ban on offshore drilling preserves 625 million acres of ocean. President-elect Trump tells the Hugh Hewitt radio show,
"It's ridiculous. I'll unban it immediately."
And 13 days before the president-elect returns to the White House,
Meta CEO Mark Zuckerberg announcing it's scrapping its third-party fact-checking program and moving toward a user-generated system similar to X's community notes. Zuckerberg citing a shifting political and social landscape, posting video about the changes.
We're going to get back to our roots and focus on reducing mistakes, simplifying our policies, and restoring free expression on our platforms.
Meta is parent company to 2 of the world's largest social media platforms, Facebook and Instagram, as well as Threads.
As Fox's Lillian Wu, all those platforms would be affected by the changes. Conservatives have long claimed that they've been censored. Well, this is good news for millions of Americans with unpaid medical bills. The Biden administration's finalized a new rule today shielding their credit ratings from being negatively affected by that debt. America's listening to Fox News.
Progressive presents Employee of the Month. Small Business Edition. Today's recipient from Lucky Larry's Landscaping, Larry! Larry saved his business money with a quick commercial auto quote from Progressive. Does it help he's his own marketing manager, accountant, executive assistant, and never been late? Technically, yes, but saving really put him over the edge. So, Larry, give Larry a round of applause. Be your own Larry. See if you could save in as little as 7 minutes at ProgressiveCommercial.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates.
You said bye-bye to big government. Now it's time to trim the fat from big wireless. Pure Talk gives you the exact same service. They use the same cell towers, the same 5G network. You get better customer service, and you pay half the price for the exact same thing. Get unlimited talk, text, 15 gigs of data with mobile hotspot for just $35 a month. Make the switch. You simply dial pound 250, say the keyword